Girl, I'm kind of freaking out right now. Our Alan Silvestri thing finally finished converting. And I open it and it says 14 hours and 52 minutes. Okay, so I'm like, all right, maybe it like continued recording after we hung up. But then I open it and I see, okay, like maybe like it was getting stuff beforehand. No. I don't know what this is. Hold on. This is such a strange file. So like what the fuck? This has never happened before. I don't know what this is. Okay, so there's that one. And then there's a 5-hour one, just Stinas audio. My heart's kind of like pounding right now. And then there's a 14-hour. You have two, which is so strange. A. B. They're 14 hours. That's not right. That's why it was taking so long to convert. I'm really fucking confused. Not gonna lie, I'm a little freaked out. Okay, yours started to pop up. All right, that's that one. And then it looks like this little short one has, but I'm assuming it's fucking gibberish. Don't know what happened, so I'm gonna try to see if it will let me convert it again. I don't know. I'll take a deep breath. Delete that scary shit. Delete. And we're gonna just try to convert it again.
Oh my god. That's horrifying. The growling? What is that? The good news is I have everything on my end except for like the intro that I wasn't recording, but so the good news is I have it. But what the fuck was that?
I don't know. What? 3 years of doing this. 3 years of doing this. Could it be because I paid for like the unlimited thing? Something got messed up, but it's fine on your end. What the fuck? I'm heating up dinner. I don't know what to do. It's so weird. Spiro's like, don't you pit Alan Menken, Alan Silvestri, and Michael Nyman against each other. Don't you dare. It's so strange. I'm sorry that the intro, I'll keep trying. I'm gonna plug a little bit of the Marco in so our listeners can hear like, hey, there was a bit more at the beginning, but we had Beelzebub, Asmodeus, and Lucifer visit.
Sleepy town settled for the night, where every lawn is tailored just right, and it's about time that the back porch light comes on. At that house down the street, at that house on Magnolia Street.
Lay in your bed. Lay in your bed, please. Lay down. Good boy. Good boy. Good boy. That's good boy. It's like he knows when I hit record. It's like, okay, it's chill time now. You better stop flapping that tail. He's still flapping his tail, so he's like thinking about it.
It's your spot. Go in your spot. Your
Good
cousin
boy.
laid down. You gotta lay down too. It's not him. Come on,
Your cousin lay down. Lay the fuck down.
lay down.
Okay.
Cool.
Did I tell you my friend Ashley, she wants to start a podcast, so she's like been hitting me up about like all the podcast shit.
I don't think
And
so. I know there
yeah.
was another person who asked. I think it was your boss at one point, but
Yeah, she's asking me all the questions.
that's
She
fun.
was over here on Saturday or Sunday, and I was like giving her the rundown of basically like everything that we do.
It's a
And
lot when you
she's
like
like,
lay it out for somebody else.
yeah, she was like, this is way more involved that like you just like completely take for granted. Like it's not just hit record and go. Like you have to edit
I
and
think you and
promote
I
it.
kind of go above and beyond what is needed.
I
Like you don't
agree. I
have to do
agree.
all the extra,
Yeah,
but
I
for
was
our
just showing
sanity, we
her
do.
all the tools that she has at, her disposal and like what she could do.
Yeah, but we wouldn't have had the start we had. Not saying it was like, well, we had a flawless start, but having some people be excited about it initially was like very helpful.
Yeah, yeah. And it helped to kind of like go stalk some of Alice Hoffman's fans and follow them and be like, hey,
Exactly.
we heard from a little bird that you like practical magic. But yeah, me and you could charge for our services on like coaching people on podcasting.
But don't ask us about like actual recording because we just use Zoom. We're just
Yeah, yeah.
Zooming.
We have not leveled up.
When are we gonna level up? I
I
say
don't know.
year 5 we get new mics.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah, probably. I'm just like I'm like so comfortable now. Like
I
I don't.
know.
I'm like it if it works, why fix it? Like
If somebody else set it up for us, if
Yeah,
somebody else did all the trinket things in between,
I
fine.
agree. I
Yeah.
agree. Yeah. Maybe by then we'll be making some little extra pocket cash. Maybe we could pay our Lee to come in and be our engineer or sound
Yeah.
engineer.
Yeah. Because the Hobgoblin's schedule has been just slammed. He's too
Oh,
busy.
he's slammed. He's answering messages from Alan Menken now. So, which, by the way,
You're not recording.
oh fuck, ah, recorded this computer. All right, now I am. You were recording, right?
Yeah.
So you have the whole intro. Okay. All right. So speaking of Alan Menken, who we talk about today? Not Alan Menken.
The one and only Alan Silvestri, which way cooler name because it's very cat-like, like Sylvester the cat. Silvestri.
Ooh, yeah.
Poor Alan Menken and
Yeah.
Silvestri
You keep
getting
confused.
tied together since what episode was that? Season 1 at some point.
I don't know, 1998 maybe. But like it also Alan Silvestri, his last name kind of goes with like he's like a silver fox, right? He's got that silver hair.
Yes,
So
he
it's like
does.
Silvestri, silver hair vestry.
Silver hair vestry.
I'm trying to make a connection there.
Silver hair vestries Vespas for
I don't
sale
know-
near
I don't
you.
know if it's working too well. But Christina decided to be a little Gemini this morning and was stalking the Silvestri Instagram account, right?
Yeah, man. He posted something new. He did a throwback photo.
It was a photo of, it says 5 years ago tonight, what an amazing trip. I'm not sure where it was, but it looks like some sort of play, maybe, or a live performance of something.
It does. He's giving me David Lynch vibes.
Oh yeah, totally.
Love it.
So I don't know what this performance was, but the stage looks pretty cool.
It's
like
beautiful.
it looks like some kind of like curtain call, like the end of the show where everybody comes on stage to say thank you for coming to the show.
Yes.
So I'm not quite sure what event this was from, but Christina commented on it 3 hours ago and was like, on our next podcast episode, we're chatting about your wonderful work on practical magic. Raise hands emoji, fire emoji. And then she commented on her own comment and was like, we'd love to include any of your thoughts with our listeners. You have so many fans here on Magnolia Street. And guess what?
He liked the comment.
He liked it. I'm not sure if it's him because I looked on, well, it's his account. It's his account for sure. It's got the blue check mark, so it's verified. But I think his account is actually it says maintained by Sandra. Oh, it says Sandra and Alan, so they probably both run it together, maybe. I know she runs his wine the blog on their wine website, which we're going to talk about later on.
Shut up.
They have a winery together. Yeah.
Could you imagine being sponsored by Alan Silvestri Wine?
What? Could you imagine if we got a personal invite to go there to like We're just thinking outside the box here.
I took a picture of us with the notes and I'm gonna go post it on our story and tag him and be like, here we are talking about this tree. Like, please stop.
We're such
Stop it.
dorks. A Gemini knows how to make those connections, so I'm just gonna let Christina, she's doing the thing over there. I see her over there clicking the buttons with her, doing the little thumbs and the fingers on the screen, and She's making it happen over there. So heart emoji, send.
Hot emoji send. What else? Should I do anything else besides tag him
I don't know. What do you want to do? Like ask him for his firstborn or like, his
for his firstborn? Do we have your blessing?
That's funny.
Alan Silvestri in the house.
Yeah. That's pretty cool. He liked our
I
comment.
know. That's amazing.
Got my coffee. My cats are laying down.
I got my coffee too, and my heating pad, and my
Nice.
jammies.
I got my car back.
Good. Your brand new baby is sparkly, no dents, no nicks.
dents. No. I'm so excited. It only took me 2 months to get it fixed and get it back. So I do kind of miss my my rental car though, with all those cool Bluetooth capabilities.
Nice.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. You try to keep the car going as long as possible. No car payments. But
Mhm.
like when you get the upgrade, you're like, okay, this was worth it. Just pay this down.
Yeah.
Yeah,
You know
it's
what Avi told me though? Because like Avi can he knows how to do some stuff on the car. So he was like, if you want the Bluetooth, I can install Bluetooth on your car for you. I was like, oh, okay.
Yeah. Yeah. Just get one of those, dashboard
Yeah.
thing. If Aaron can do it,
Mhm.
Avi can for sure do it. We were like, I was on the brink because this was a 2-day project because something went wrong because I now have that like Android Auto screen and it just Spotify, whatever.
Yeah.
And more than once I was like, we should call Avi. We should call Avi.
You
'Cause
should.
we didn't know
Yeah.
what we were doing.
He knows his
Oh my
shit.
God.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Thanks to
you-
Avi, I have air conditioning back in my car now. So when you visit me the next time, we're not rolling around
And
sweating
slipping
our
and sliding.
DX off. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Hey,
Hey,
with
Tay.
Tay. We said it at the same time that time.
I'm Christina.
I'm Justina. Welcome to Magnolia Street, your one and only musically inspired practical magic fandom podcast.
Every week, we deep dive on different aspects of the movie and the books, as well as treat your ears to our very own practical magic inspired music.
Yeah, original music. We are so close. So close.
We're like neck and neck with Alan Silvestri and Alan Menken with the original music here.
Yeah. Well, maybe they'll listen to it. Who knows? But first, we got to finish the album, which is it's in like a mixing limbo right now. We're still waiting for things to come back to us. And
Mike's only one man,
I
and he works with
know.
many different artists.
I know. It is a very small recording production company, so this is unfortunately that's kind of the downside of working with somebody one-on-one. But then also the pro of that on the flip side is that like you get that tender loving care put into your work because like you're working one-on-one with them, and it's like it becomes a working relationship that's really close, tight-knit, and you have to put a lot of trust in each other. And
I know probably a lot of groups, individuals, bands that come in have already had like all the instruments. They've been playing for a while. Mike really had to we had to get studio musicians to come in and do these parts when it was just originally just Stina's draft acoustic guitar. So he's having to add all these little things where typically I think are already there via the band or the group, which we didn't have because we don't work in the same state. So I know that took a little longer, but what he's put together, oh my God, the layers.
got lots of layers. I can't wait. I've been listening to the mixes the past week, just trying to like double down on getting these ideas back to him so he could put the last touches on it, and then we can get to the mastering. That's really the last part, the last thing that we gotta do. I think he gave us like a 2-week window on like when he might be able to finally get back to our stuff because he's working on other stuff right now. So
yeah, no worries.
Yeah, so it's gonna take a little time. I think at this point we're probably looking at a springtime release.
Maybe it might even be like early summer.
Yeah, I guess we'll see what happens.
But today
we are still talking about music. We are talking about the one and only, not Alan Menken, but the other Alan composer, Alan Silvestri, the composer of the Practical Magic film as we know it today. We had done an episode in season 2 about Michael Nyman, who was actually the film's original music composer. And in that episode, we learned that Michael Nyman had actually produced an entire film score that had already gone to press on the soundtrack, but was later omitted at the last minute and replaced with Alan Silvestri's score. I think we actually touched on this in the Michael Nyman episode. It was I want to say like episode 57 in season 2, and on that episode we talked about this little blurb. So according to Practical Magic Fandom Wiki, this says, after bad reactions at a test screening, composer Michael Nyman's score was rejected at the last minute. It was called too European sounding and obtrusive, and it was replaced with one by Alan Silvestri.
that's a rough critic to get.
I know. I
critique.
know. And according to Insider.com, some of Nyman's score can still be heard on the original CD release of the soundtrack, which was recorded before the studio changed the music. Nyman said that he regrets the fact that his music exists on the album because it limits people's exposure to his work, but does appreciate that at the very least it proves his involvement in the film. And as we learned in our Michael Nyman episode, he did an interview with Dan Goldwasser for Soundtrack.net titled The Practically Ravenous Michael Nyman. And in that article, Nyman explained on his end what had happened with his compositions being rejected by the film studio. And that was published on March 16th, 2000. Quite a long time ago, right?
Yeah. So we're going to get into this interview a little bit back and forth. So I will be David Goldwasser and ask the questions. And Justina, you're going to be answering?
As Michael Nyman, yes.
Is it Michael Nyman? Do you remember his accent that you were doing?
I don't.
Okay. All right. So David asked, what happened with Practical Magic?
So Michael says, what happened with Practical Magic was that I wrote the best score I think I'd ever written for a film that engaged me. Not at all. Oh, yeah, yeah.
That was kind of it. I think you're on the right track there.
Yeah. It's a miracle how my relationship with Griffin Dunn and his encouragement to write a particular kind of score brought out a score for me that did all of the things I wanted it to do. It had the new Nyman lyricism and had some very Wild Greenaway kind of stuff. It had a lot of irony, it was very sexy, it was humorous, it had some sleazy music, and it had some scary music.
Sleazy.
Sleazy. In terms of range, it was very diverse. In terms of quality, it was very high quality. But when it was shown to the head honcho at Warner Brothers, the film had a lot of problems as a film. The narrative didn't make sense, and Lorenzo de Bonaventura took one look at it and said, "This score has got to go." Not realizing, of course, that I had 6 weeks to work on the score, and they had 2 years to work on the film. So I was the whipping boy. It was a very curious situation when there were 2 soundtracks for the film being composed simultaneously, my score and the songs. I guess he's talking about the songs like from the mainstream artists that they put on the main soundtrack. I was confident that my score was the score that Griffin wanted and was the score that was going to make the film a success. I'm not saying that there weren't other inherent problems with the score that couldn't have been overcome with a bit of remixing, but why did they ask me to do it? And why did Griffin ask me to do it this way? For a film that had nothing to do with American vernacular. It wasn't an American film score, it wasn't a Hollywood soundtrack, and it had a lot of irony to it. I didn't think that it would rescue the film because I think the film, with all due respect to Griffin, he was pulled in too many directions simultaneously. I think my score would have at least made it feel very different. There's some gorgeous music in that score, which, alas, will never be heard.
And then David asks, but the first issue of the soundtrack album had 2 of your cues on it.
Well, the soundtrack album was obviously recorded before my score was dumped. I regret the fact that those cues are on the album because I think they're remarkable pieces of music, and they have no use whatsoever except to sit in the archives of the people who have the CD. It did at least prove that I was involved in the project. I'm not saying that the score I wrote was in any sense a difficult score, but it's a totally different take than what an American would do. I've learned lessons from that, but I've not learned anything from them. I keep doing things my way, and if it works, it works, and if it doesn't, it doesn't. So I think we both agree that Michael Nyman sounds a bit hurt, understandably so, to pour all your hard work into something for it to be cut at the last minute, and the way that it had been done, it just seemed a bit careless and a little bit sketch, like, like they had him do all that work and then I don't even know if he found out that they replaced it until maybe the next soundtrack was pressed without his music. I don't know how that went down.
This is giving me like the Gary casting vibes with Timothy Oliphant. Like,
That's right.
Timothy had auditioned for it, thought he got it. Everything was cool. And then I guess he walked by. It was in the elevator with, I don't know, Aidan Quinn. And he's like, yeah, I've auditioned for this role. Just got this role playing a cop in this Practical Magic. And Timothy's like, what? I thought I was doing that. So I don't know. It sounds like communication back in the 90s was not working for this movie.
Not a thing. Right. Yeah. So yeah, it's unfortunate. So I was actually trying to find a bit more of Alan Silvestri's take and opinion on what it was like to jump into a job that had already been done and rejected. Was he aware that he was replacing somebody else's work that had already been done on the film? And I wonder if he felt any guilt at all for being hired to replace someone, or if it was just quote, show business as usual, kid. to him, you
Yeah,
know?
yeah. That's Hollywood.
Yeah, that's Hollywood, kid. I'm not sure. So I asked ChatGPT, I was
Okay.
like, are there any articles on the internet that explain what Alan Silvestri's reaction was to being hired to replace Michael Nyman's compositions on the Practical Magic soundtrack? Because I was looking, scoured Google for all of any of Alan Silvestri's articles in relation to Practical Magic, and he doesn't really talk about that one a lot, surprisingly. And it's never really mentioned in like his best film scores articles. Like it kind of gets buried in the mix, and I'm like, why? It was like, I think it was one of his best ones. And maybe that's because I'm, partial to it, obviously, because we run a Practical Magic podcast. So like I'm sure that's maybe has a lot to do with why we love it so much, and maybe more so than his other scores. And some scores, like I didn't even realize that he's done so many things.
So many things. And this is making such a comeback now with kind of more of a resurgence in like witchcraft and people putting it like the songs from the soundtrack are being put over just homesteading or simple living and magical living. And I don't even know if people know that is where it's from.
Yeah, I wonder if Alan knows like how big he is on TikTok in that community.
I hope he knows.
Cottagecore, right? The cottagecore community. He's huge. Specifically this soundtrack. So I asked ChatGPT, I was like, are there any articles of Alan Silvestri explaining his reaction to being hired to replace Michael Nyman? So ChatGPT said, while specific articles detailing Alan Silvestri's personal reaction to being hired to replace Michael Nyman's compositions on the Practical Magic soundtrack, they're scarce. In an interview with Film Score Monthly, Silvestri discussed the challenges he faced when stepping in to rescore the film on short notice. He noted the film's wide emotional range and mentioned that his role was to find a middle ground to bring cohesiveness to the movie. Silvestri described the task as, quote, challenging in the ordinary sense, emphasizing the difficulty of making decisions to balance the film's diverse tones. And then the decision to replace Nyman's score reportedly stemmed from test screenings where his compositions were deemed, quote, too European sounding and intrusive. Consequently, Silvestri was brought in to create a new score that would better align with the filmmaker's version. And then lastly, this says, while direct statements from Silvestri about his personal feelings on replacing Nyman are not readily available, his comments highlight the professional challenges and considerations involving in adapting to such a project under tight deadlines. So there you go. So while there are no articles or interviews that exist from Alan's perspective anyway, I still can't help but to ponder what those conversations would have looked like to be a fly on the wall during all the behind the scenes of all that movie studio drama. I'm sure there were conversations had that we will never know about. I'm sure of it. So in typical Stinas fashion, if there's no drama, why not create it?
Oh my God.
So I wondered if there was any sort of confrontation like between the two. Like, did Michael Nyman ever call Alan up like, why'd you take my job? And like, I wonder if Alan was like, go fuck yourself. Like, like, was there any of that? Like, I was just wondering, just asking for a friend. So, I asked ChatGPT, can you write me a fan fiction of a conversation between Michael Nyman and Alan Silvestri after Nyman finds out that Silvestri had been hired to replace his film score for the movie Practical Magic? It generated this story titled The Notes of Fate.
Okay. Manos, hands of fate.
Okay, so cue the music. The cafe was quiet, save for the occasional clatter of porcelain and the soft hum of conversation. Michael Nyman stirred his espresso absently, his fingers tapping an erratic rhythm on the saucer. Across from him sat Alan Silvestri, posture composed, hands wrapped around a mug of black coffee. I imagine you know why I asked you here, Nyman said, his voice carrying the weight of disappointment, but also curiosity.
Is he a mob boss?
He might be. Silvestri exhaled, setting his cup down. Yeah, I do. A tense pause stretched between them before Nyman leaned forward. It's not personal, Alan. You know that. But he let out a short, dry laugh. It does rather sting when you pour yourself into a project, only to be told it doesn't fit, and then you find out you've been replaced. Well, you can imagine.
No, he can't, because he wasn't replaced.
Silvestri nodded, his expression understanding. Believe me, I've been there. It's not an easy industry. One day you're the perfect fit, the next the studio decides they want something different. Too European and obtrusive, they said. Nyman's voice was sharp, though he wasn't directing his anger at Silvestri. I thought I was capturing the magic of it. The whimsy, the history, the melancholy. I didn't think I was composing a distraction. Silvestri took a slow sip of his coffee, choosing his words carefully. I get it, Michael. I do, and I respect your work immensely. I wasn't thrilled about stepping into someone else's shoes like this. It's never comfortable, but when the call comes, you take it. You know how it goes. Nyman sighed, rubbing his temple. I suppose I do. Silvestri hesitated, then added, Your score, it was beautiful. I heard some of it, and I get why you're upset. It wasn't about the quality, it was about what they thought they needed. Nyman tilted his head, a wry smile playing at his lips. And you? Did you feel like what they needed? Huh, Alan, huh? Silvestri chuckled, shaking his head. Not at first, but my job was to meet them where they were, to thread something between the cracks of what they wanted and what I could do. I didn't replace you because I thought I was better, Michael. I replaced you because that's how the dice rolled. Damn, give it to him straight. A long silence followed. Nyman picked up his espresso and took a slow sip, considering Silvestri's words. Finally, he set the cup down. Well, Alan, I suppose there's some magic in fate after all. Silvestri smirked. There always is.
I thought that was gonna be way more like daytime TV,
Right.
soap
Yeah.
opera, but that was really healing. I'm hoping they had that kind of conversation and Michael Nyman can just move right along.
Right. Yeah. ChatGPT is like very graceful about things, you know? Yeah. Yeah, but again, that's show business, kid. So yeah, you can hear some of Michael Nyman's score pieces that were rejected for the film, and they are posted to YouTube. The famous one being "Convening the Coven," and I think there is another one called Maria Owens, right? And these tracks and some of his other rejected music was ultimately repurposed for the Glare album, which Nyman did as a collaboration between him and British vocalist David Irving McAlmont. And on Michael Nyman's episode that we did was season 2, episode 57, we go into the Glare album track by track and even did a whole WMSR episode, which is a radio countdown style episode where we go into each track and its backstory and then showcase the songs themselves. So check those episodes out. And that was season 2 WMSR session number 6, if you want to listen to that radio countdown style one. Michael Nyman's rejected score for Practical Magic and Alan Silvestri's final composition, they do reflect two distinctly different approaches to film scoring, both in instrumentation and in compositional style. So just to get a broader sense of what that looks like and why Nyman was ultimately replaced by Silvestri in the end, I asked ChatGPT to talk about the difference in instrumentation elements and composition between both composers. Because like I know a lot of people that aren't musicians, they're like, okay, yeah, fine, it's different music, but like I don't think maybe they understand like the elements that might contribute to why things sound a certain way, lend Practical Magic to that charm that we know it for. Going to Michael Nyman's score first. So he's considered, his style is very minimalist and European chamber influence. So what does that mean? His approach, being rooted in minimalism, is a hallmark of his work, and his score likely featured repetitive layered piano motifs. So this is a characteristic of his minimalist style, which creates a sense of movement and emotional tension. It could have included a string quartet or small chamber ensemble. His compositions often favor intimate orchestration, blending Baroque influences with contemporary minimalism. Also, he uses woodwinds a lot, possibly oboes or clarinets, and he often employs these for a haunting lyrical quality. And then also his sparse rhythmic structures. Rather than sweeping melodic themes, his music builds through repetition and variation, which might have been seen as too stark or experimental for a mainstream Hollywood film. So ultimately, his score may have been considered too avant-garde or European in tone, failing to align with the mystical romantic Americana aesthetic that the studio likely wanted. So now let's move over to Alan Silvestri's score, which his can be characterized as more sweeping, romantic, and cinematic. Silvestri's final score, in contrast, embraced a lush orchestral sound with more traditional Hollywood sensibility. It's got a full symphonic orchestra, which includes warm strings, sweeping brass, grand crescendos that bring a sense of magic and emotional depth. Then he has a prominent use of woodwinds and harp, adding a whimsical and mystical quality fitting for the film's supernatural elements. And I have to say, I love harp in
I love a
anything.
harp. Mm-hmm.
And you add a harp to anything, and it's going to have that witchy, fairy, ethereal quality to it,
Very
which
much so.
I love. So then also he has those strong, memorable melodic themes. The Silvestri score is more leitmotif driven, providing recognizable musical cues for characters and emotions. And like you can kind of hear like in dialogue and stuff, and like a cue picks up and you know that something's about to like go into a crescendo or into like a more sullen emotional moment. And like it's just like beautiful how his score kind of ebbs and flows with the actual emotions that the characters are conveying on the screen. This last point says more dynamic emotional range. Rather than a meditative repetition of Nyman's style, Silvestri's compositions follow more dramatic arcs, swelling, receding with the story's emotional beats. And I think he does that so beautifully.
I don't think Michael Nyman like really sat down and watched through what was happening on screen as far maybe he didn't feel connected to the characters, but you can definitely tell, and even listening to Alan talk about why he did what, which we'll have later on, you can really see like the ebb and flow. Some of these songs have maybe 3 or 4 different like vignettes in them because they're signaling different emotion changes. It's really
Right.
cool.
It is really cool. Yeah, so ultimately, while Nyman's score may have offered a unique and unconventional take on practical magic, Silvestri's ultimately provided the romantic warmth and the grand Hollywood feel that fit the film's tone, balancing whimsy, romance, and fantasy in a way that was more accessible to mainstream audiences. ChatGPT also asked me if I would like an imagined description of what Nyman's version might have sounded like in key scenes, because this is like kind of like a parallel universe. Like if the movie was released with Nyman's score on it, what would that have looked like in certain key scenes? So this says if Michael Nyman's minimalist, rhythmically driven style had remained in Practical Magic, the film's emotional and supernatural moments might have taken on a more cerebral and hypnotic tone rather than the lush, sweeping magic of Silvestri's score. So here's how, before we get into these key scenes, I'm wondering, remember that when we talked about that unreleased like kind of got left on the cutting room floor version of Akiva Goldsman's darker script?
Yes.
I'm wondering if it went that direction, if Nyman's score would have fit better on that one. And we will never know. That one probably, I don't know if that got destroyed and like the footage got destroyed somehow and they can't find it, but it'll probably never see the light of day.
It's lost in, yeah, the archives somewhere, I'm sure.
Right. Yeah, so here's how some key scenes might have sounded in Michael Nyman's approach. So first of all, the Owens house and everyday magic. So the scene where the aunts, Staka Channing and Diane Waste, practice magic in their Victorian house, casually brewing potions, preparing herbal remedies, letting their eccentricity flow. Nyman's version, this would have been a repeating piano motif, playful yet mechanical, builds over light pizzicato strings and a delicate clarinet melody. The harpsichord might subtly reinforce the antique old world feel of the Owens lineage, and the effect that this would have had on the scene, rather than the sweeping magical theme, the music would highlight the everyday rhythm of magic, treating it as something woven into the fabric of life rather than something grand or mystical.
I can't stand a harpsichord.
Me either. So I'm
hate it.
wondering if this would have made it more quirky along the lines
Yes.
of like a Hocus Pocus.
Yes, I can see that.
Yeah. Moving on to the Midnight Margarita scene. So in this scene, the sisters and aunts dance around the kitchen, drunk on their own potion, laughing as they chant along to the coconut song. So in Nyman's version, it says maybe he would have done something like this. A rolling, syncopated piano riff might drive the scene with an off-kilter bassoon or low strings, adding a mischievous, slightly dissonant quality. And the effect that this might have had, instead of the joyful, free-spirited energy that Silvestri brought, Nyman's score could have added an undercurrent of unpredictability, emphasizing that magic, like their margarita-fueled fun, can be delightful but also unsettling. And I mean, that scene was delightful but then also unsettling, and I'm not sure like how it would have sounded like if what Nyman did, how that would have sounded different than what Silvestri
It would have
did.
been a totally different if you're just dancing around to instrumental music.
Yeah,
I don't know about you, but if I'm partying, I'm not listening to instrumental. I'm listening to something I can sing to, which the girls
right.
were doing. So
Yeah.
putting
Yeah.
that in there fit much better.
Maybe they're talking about after the song is done and they're at the table and like they're pouring the cocktails and there's like kind of some unsettling stuff going on there with the music, right?
Yes, maybe.
Maybe that's what they're talking about. The next one on this list is Sally's grief and resilience. So, in the scene where Sally mourns the loss of her husband, later writing her desperate spell for a man who can never exist. Oh, it says later writing, but she did that when she was a kid. But I guess when that comes back around, it says Nyman's version would have been a somber cello, which intertwines with an insistent rhythmic piano ostinato, growing in intensity as her emotions rise. And the effect here, rather than a swelling emotional cue, as Silvestri might use, or did use, Nyman's approach would focus on repetition and layering, mirroring the way grief lingers and loops in the mind. I think that would have driven me insane.
I love a cello, but the way that it's such a gentle, soft piano that's
Yeah.
behind when especially you can when she's looking at her hand and remembering that it's just so soft and
Yeah.
sweet and it makes you very sentimental.
Yeah, I think that is such a tender moment. So I think,
Tender, yes.
yeah, it is very tender. So I think repetition and layering here probably would not have worked. And then moving on to the exorcism of Jimmy Angelov. In the scene, the women form a circle using their collective magic to banish Jimmy Angelov's spirit from Jillian's body. So Nyman's version might have looked something like this: a relentless rhythmic string pattern. It doesn't say like a cello or maybe a higher pitch like a viola, violin, almost like a heartbeat, underscoring the tension. Sparse, dissonant brass might pierce through as the magic intensifies. As the ghost is expelled, the music reaches a frenetic climax before suddenly stopping. So the effect that this might have had, instead of Silvestri's triumphant mystical swell, Nyman's score would have leaned into more ritualistic tension, making the moment feel raw and primal rather than fantastical. And then lastly on here, it says the rooftop finale, the jumping off of the roof. In the scene, the Owens women, now embraced by their town, leap off the roof in all full witch glory. In Nyman's version, he probably would have done something like this. A cascading piano and violin duet swirls upward, creating an elegant yet controlled momentum. And the effect that this might have given to the moment would have been a dreamlike otherworldly beauty rather than Silvestri's celebratory, sweeping grandeur. I think the two are very starkly different, and in conclusion, Nyman's score would have given practical magic a more meditative, rhythmic, and European art house feel, less than Hollywood fantasy and more introspective magic. And his approach, while mesmerizing, may have lacked the warmth and accessibility and soaring emotions that Silvestri ultimately delivered.
It sounds like left brain, right brain.
Yeah.
Like Nyman would probably have been very clinical about it, and there is not that emotion tied in there.
I think the emotion of, what it eventually became with Silvestri's work, definitely feel that warmth. I think we all feel that warmth, and I think that's why it's resonated with so many people for so long, is we feel tied to it in all of our senses, right? And the music is just gets you in the heartstrings.
It does. It really does.
Right. Yeah. So now we got all the Nyman Silvestri drama out of the way. Let's talk about Alan Silvestri's work on the Practical Magic film and what he had to say on the DVD commentary in some of the film's most notable scenes. And he's got a lot to say about it, right? You pulled this out of the commentary. So do you want to take it away?
Yeah, we've pulled a few other, when we did our Sandra Bullock, when we did our Griffin Dunn, but actually Alan's the one to like open the commentary. He
Really?
greets like at the very beginning. Yeah, so he goes to say, I'm trying to think, maybe 3 or 4 different scenes specifically about why he chose certain flections, and we'll get into that right now.
Yeah.
So this starts at the very beginning, I think, when Maria Owens is ready to jump off the gallows. He says, "My name is Alan Silvestri. I'm the composer for the score of Practical Magic. We are, and is usually the case at the beginning of the film, and most often the main title is a piece where one needs to really establish some kind of tone and some kind of promise to one's audience in terms of what they're about to embark on. In this particular film experience, this was a fun main title, distinguished from the point of view of the imagery, in a sense, being very contrast to what one was allowed to do musically, knowing that it helped that most of her lovers, It also interspliced like the film, knowing that her lovers had wives.
Oh, that's funny.
So then he says, this beautiful woman is about to be hung. And so you might think, well, what are we going to do here? Musically, in a sequence like this, there is a tremendous level of tongue in cheek here. And the ultimate bottom line is that this is a story being told by a very loving auntie, passing some family history down to young children. So that allowed me as the composer to kind of look at this sequence in a completely different way. And it seems to be more fun to play with something that would, at least in the narrative hearts, communicate this kind of love and gentleness between the older women and the younger women. As we just saw at some points, the action needs to be addressed. This is when she lands on the ground. She jumps from the gallows and lands. And this, of course, is an opportunity to play the scene literally, kind of a triumph. She's a witch, but she's not. Where we are right here now, that the legend continues, and as it is being told to these young girls, and there's kind of a tragic sadness. So I guess they're talking about when she's like shucking clams and missing her long lost love. It's about a curse that this family has not been able to extricate themselves from through history. And yet the music needs to address this, but not kind of pull us down, because ultimately there's a lot of fun and lightness here in the film. Now we have gone to modern day, and this theme, it's the same thematic material as we began with in the film, but now it's much lighter. It's an easier setting. We're still receiving a tremendous amount of information, so the music has to allow for that attention and a lot of the information to be communicated. We come to another time cut here. Obviously, the girls have lost their parents, and we want to not take away from this kind of loving environment, even though there's a sense of tragedy that lies below all this. And then he goes on to say, now we're moving into the area where the kids are finding out that they're different. They're being chastised, they're being assaulted by the other children in the neighborhood. What about my quarry? And once again, we don't want to literally be playing all of these instances. We want to keep an eye on the ball in a sense of the main title and get more of a feel for the entire film and not be too literal. And then there's a little bit of in between, but he does jump back in. He says, this is an opportunity here, even though what we're basically doing is riding around with this guy who, in a sense, has been brutally murdered. It is an opportunity to get back to the lighter side of films. Oh, they're in the car. Okay.
Yeah.
To get back to the girls, kind of confronting their magical power. This is our choice in an interesting way. We're kind of in like a fun horror movie here, for lack of a better way to put it. The girls are dragging this guy in. Jimmy's head gets whacked, and we're obviously playing for this comedy on some level. And yet we can't be slapsticky with it, because that would just erode the dramatic force of the film. And if we're going to do that, if we were going to make fun of it, we would kind of lose everything that's motivating everyone here. Yet, these are our girls, and they're trying to figure out how to do this magic thing. Also, the scene does escalate, it does accelerate in a dramatic force. You need to pace it in some way. There's a moment here, where she's carrying on a conversation with her dead boyfriend as though he's not going to remain dead.
Is that when she puts him on the slab and she's just like,
are definitely breaking up. Yeah.
So funny.
We're at a point here now dramatically where the girls are having to commit to whether or not they're really going to go forward with this. And Jillian says, absolutely. And now we're going into the sequence where the girls are trying to figure out how to implement their gifts. The girls play off each other great here. They've gone to the book. And this now is one continuous build as they continue to go through the ritual. As has been the case in many instances in film, image-wise music has to be there supporting the mystery and the magic of all of this. And at the same time, it has to allow for all the comedy to come through and not be so heavy-handed that we will be distracted from, first of all, the information and the fun that Griffin is showing us in terms of how they're doing this magic. I mean, they're getting it going here and it's starting to work, but now it's gotten a little more serious and the music takes on a slightly more serious tone. We're building to something there. They're having to do something now that they've never had to do before, and there's a certain amount of trepidation here, probably when they're chanting, right? It's building. And as we see from the shot, the smoke is coming off Jimmy and it's starting to work. There are two different places to decide in writing a piece of music. One is the beginning and the other is the end. The choice to end it here, when the girls realize that Jimmy has actually opened his eyes, not necessarily when the eyes open, but you can tell it shifts or stops when they see his eyes open.
Yeah, he brings up a good point. That when he says they're about to do something that they've never had to do, and there's a certain amount of trepidation here, I can almost bet that Sally and Jillian have never done magic together before.
Yeah,
They
yeah.
look so awkward together during that scene. Like, imagine somebody like a girlfriend or like even a sister that you get together and like, you chant with or you like do spells here and there with. There was no like natural
No,
beat
no,
to
no.
that at all. Like they both
Jillian's awkward as shit. She's like, I don't know. Yeah.
yeah. They both look very out of place
Yeah.
together. Like they
Mhm.
didn't have that chemistry that two friends or two sisters
Mhm.
seem
They
like
didn't know how to dance in the kitchen, is what I
exactly,
like to say.
exactly. Yeah. I never thought about that before, but yeah, it seems like they've
Good
never
point.
done magic together before.
Good point. So then we're in the scene where they're burying the body. We're back to the girls at work in a sense here. They've brutally murdered Jimmy again. So we're kind of figuring that out. And the music here is really playing much more on the lighter side. And it's telling us, in a sense, that everything's going to be okay. We're working feverishly, and yet there's still some magic and mystery in the air. Now that we know we can kill him more than once, we're not quite as shocked by the fact that they have killed him. So this is all about the sisters being together. And we're looking to highlight more of their relationship, the magic and the mystery of all of this, and not go down the dark road of Jimmy and the dark character and murder and all of that. He's really just a vehicle for the girls to have come to grips with their magical powers. And we also, at the same time, we don't want to let anybody feel like the film's over and they have it completely handled. So the music is also wanting to leave us with some kind of question or uncertainty. It does leave off on that weird note when
Mm,
they're going up the stairs.
hmm.
And I think that's what he's talking about. Like they've maybe found a fix in the short term, but here there's more to come. And this says we kind of leave almost on a kind of ominous note as they walk back into the house. Again, he comes in when Jillian and Kylie are making the banishing syrup. He says, it's great to have some identifiable thematic material that will, in a sense, connect areas of the film together. The first theme in the film was at the main title, which I think of as he calls it the legend theme. It's something that associates with the narration and the curse. There are places throughout the film where the piece of thematic material is serving to connect us to the Owens family and the Owens women and the curse. We do use it in that particular setting in the main title, but we also use the same piece of music material in this legend theme in the scene where Sally's young daughter finds her diary and has the discussion with her Auntie Jill about daddy and all that comes back. And it's played very soft and childlike, but it's very definitely the legend theme. Aunt Jill is whipping up a batch of poison syrup for our detective, and Sally's young daughter finds her diary, which has the original spell that she created. And she appeals to Aunt Jill to explain it. So, as Aunt Jill is explaining what the spell is and what love is, the legend theme comes back in, and the scene becomes the story about the Owens women again and witchcraft and the fact that they are witches and they created the spell and that they have magic in their history. The same piece of material appears in the scene where the young girls have had a confrontation with the townspeople, which I've never noticed before.
Right.
And Sally sends them home and they go back to their auntie's house and they're sitting around the table and the young girls are questioning their aunties now about their family and what their history is. And that legend theme comes back in because in a sense, it's the same conditions we had in the main title as the aunties are passing down that family knowledge to the young girls.
Yeah, I like how like it's so nuanced how he scored this film that like you don't even notice when the same kind of motifs and moments pop back into little crevices behind dialogue to give it that same feel that you might have experienced in a previous scene. And he just does that so effortlessly. It's so
It could be
cool.
played just slightly different, like maybe a
Yeah,
different tempo or something's held a little longer. It's so sneaky,
it
but
is
it works
very
really
sneaky.
beautifully.
Yeah.
Yeah. In the interrogation scene, when Sally and Gary are together at the B&B, he says, in the scene coming up, we had to address musically the romantic interest. And it's kind of an interesting problem musically because the romantic side of these two, for the most part, is very internal. She had this spell that she cast when she was a young girl. And he's, in a sense, attracted to her, but you get the feeling he doesn't know why. But there's an undertone of attraction between the two of them. They've got this terrible crime between them. He's investigating a potential murderess, and yet he's very attracted to her, and she's talking to the law. And so it's interesting that he's trying to question her, but she's also talking about, in a funny way, some other layer of their relationship. So musically, I needed to find a way of supporting this kind of subconscious, steamy aspect, but not kind of fall into the fact that it's an interrogation and there's tension in this interrogation. I really stayed away from that with the music. I play with much more from the point of view of the fact that these two people were almost destined to finally come together. And they've got this big mess in front of them that they have to, in a sense, live through and navigate through. But what's really happening in this scene is that there are two people who have, in a sense, been in love forever. And so, it presents an interesting way to attempt to play the scene rather than being very literal with this guy and this gal who are falling in love and trying to play this kind of subconsciously. It's reserved, it's tentative, and yet there's a very sexual component to what's happening between them. Of course, at some point in the scene, the flesh is weak, as he says, and Gary can't hold back any longer musically, and he kisses her.
Mhm.
The decision was, hey, we've got to move forward a little bit here. So musically, I allowed the music to track with the physicality of the scene, but with an outburst, and then right back into much more subdued framework. Yeah, he goes like for the punch with the kiss, and then as soon as she's against the wall, it kind of like simmers back down a little bit.
Yeah, it kind of almost goes along with her like emotions because they kiss, right? And that punch comes with the music. But then like against the wall, she's like, I can't. And then she goes in more for another kiss, and it's like if the music kind of like it pushes and pulls with her emotions, I think.
Yeah, I love that. He says, we're not really going to deliver a steamy sexual encounter here. This is more about magic. She notices the one green eye, one blue, and the music changes. The music changes, and it's much more in a sense of hearkening back to the spell she cast as a young child. And we have a transition to deal with here. Now she's really confused. She's in love, but she can't proceed down that road. So then when she's walking back, she starts to hear the voices and she's being called from home, and there's real trouble happening back at this house. So she takes off. We're using some of Jimmy's thematic material here, and then we break out into that run. She's running home. Once again, we have to physically handle what's happening on the screen. The girls are terribly upset, and the music now, we're moving into a mode of playing with the anticipation of what lies up in the attic.
This is the soundtrack going on in Gary's head.
Yeah.
That scene.
There's an ominous feel. There's danger. There's mystery. We don't go with any kind of. So Jimmy has already come out, and Gary and Jimmy are kind of circling each other. He says, we don't go for any kind of sting here musically so when Gary's got his gun out, they continue on with the music. This is what we're looking at as the emergence of Jimmy. That's what he wanted to stress. And now rather than play Jimmy as some kind of monstrous beast, musically, he wanted to play him as more of kind of a rascally, devilish entity. He's not growling at us, and he's not, at least at this point, he's not in our faces attempting to kill us. This is kind of like the spider playing with the fly here in effect. And so the music is very cagey, lots of air, lots of anticipation.
Don't we even hear like a snake rattle in there? Right?
Like a hissing.
Yeah, and a growl.
This guy just emerged from our sister here, and we don't quite know what he's capable of doing. So we don't want to give anything away in terms of what's going to happen. But there is definitely a standoff here. It's almost like two guys in the town square about to have a gunfight. Now there's kind of supernatural moment here, and musically, we have to go along with the imagery. But we're trying to look at it from the point of view musically, the mystery and the supernatural, rather than, the horrible and violent situation. As Jimmy approaches, we're getting ready to hold him off, and we're musically addressing this effect. And there's a rather comedic rendering of our hero here with the star in his hand, not knowing what happened, and is the perfect opportunity for the music to stop abruptly to support the comedic side of the release for the audience. I think this is the last scene he had to talk about, but it's when the girls are in the circle of brooms, and I think they're kind of coming to terms with, oh shit, I think Jillian might die.
Mm-hmm.
So he says, after this tremendous frenzy that we have just witnessed, now we have a time cut, and musically we're using a theme here. And that theme established early in the film when the girls became blood sisters in a sense. A very soft moment, primarily just piano playing. And musically, what I'm after here is just connecting the girls and connecting the fact that they're blood sisters and that they love each other and that they are family. One of them is terribly ill, and one of them is trying to help her sister. Jill is dying here in this scene. And this, in a sense, the two girls are saying goodbye to each other. At one point here, we see that Sandra Bullock gets fed up of not having anything to do about it. And now we have become proactive in the scene. Musically here, we are moving into the land of Jimmy. And thematically, this is the material that was used for Jimmy Jimmy has possessed her and we're allowing for the darkness and for the mystery. And yet, once again, we don't want to be heavy handed about this. The music we want to allow us lots of air and lots of room for the tension. There's a real game of wits, in a sense, being played here. And Sally is calling Jimmy out. He makes his move, and now we go into this right to save Jillian. And we're needing to build through all of this. And in a sense, as though everything is coming back together. And this is our last hope here for success. All of the women in town are banding together. And here in this moment where we want to communicate that, we have to succeed. Jimmy has come out of her, at least. We don't know where for the moment. It's a celebration, but not so fast. We see that there's a supernatural event and it's Jimmy's dust coming down and he whacks with a thud, and there's some room for a comedic gag here musically we make space for. But when she says, let's clean house, musically, we want to take off here. And now it's, kind of like a big Tupperware exorcism party. All of the women in town have succeeded here and they're getting rid of this knucklehead. And we're basically just celebrating here and having fun. Our girls are victorious. The town's victorious. The Owens women in general and victorious. And so musically, there is a very positive opportunity for us to kind of celebrate that the bad guy is vanquished. And then the last little bit is when Sally is burning the brambles. He says, and now we have a time cut. And musically, we're just concerned with the transition to allow us to move on and see what is to come next.
Nice. So on the commentary, I can't remember. Do they kind of like jump back and forth between Alan Silvestri, Griffin Dunn, and then Sandra and Denise DeNovi? Or are there like different commentary modes you could put it on? Like one is just the music commentary, and then one is just the director, and then one is just...
I think I always picture them all sitting together in like a tiny room.
Okay.
Watching this together.
Because I was wondering, like, why would he not have said anything about that amazing finale, But then I was like remembering back when I was doing a different scene. I think it might have been for All Hallows Eve, and I was listening to the commentary. It was Sandra and Denise that were doing the outro, which was the finale. So that's probably why he didn't comment on it.
Hearing him talk, and he has such a conscious stream of thought. Like it's so well put, because I could tell. I had an AI, otter.ai, listen to the commentary and it wrote it out. There's some flubs here and there, but his, I could tell where they were because they were these big, long paragraphs.
You mean it wasn't like Griffin Dunn where it's just like all over the place? Translating a transcript is not as easy with Griffin Dunn. So if we take a look at the soundtrack that was released by Warner Brothers, only 2 of Alan Silvestri's tracks for Practical Magic, the film score, were actually released on the soundtrack. I guess in place of 2 tracks that Michael Nyman had on there. I guess it replaced those. And the ones that are on that soundtrack are the Almas Veritas, I guess, the theme, and also Practical Magic overall theme, I guess is what he called the Legend theme. So my question was, why was the rest of the film score not released? Because there's so much more music woven throughout the film that kind of, like we said, it ebbs and flows with every single character and the cue and every single emotion throughout the movie. Why do we never get a sole film score alongside of the mainstream music soundtrack with all the major pop artists, right? Right. Like, for example, we have the movie The Craft, and we have the main soundtrack with all those awesome 90s grunge songs, but by like Letters to Cleo, Juliana Hatfield, Love Spit Love, etc. But then a whole separate film score was released with all of the musical compositions of film cues by Graham Revel, which contains all of the cool background instrumentals that go on behind the characters' dialogue. So I wish we could have gotten the same thing for Practical Magic. So I was like, ChatGPT, why that is? So
why
that is. So it said this. It said the official soundtrack for Practical Magic primarily features popular songs by various artists, with only 2 tracks from Alan Silvestri's original score included. The decision to release a compilation album focusing on well-known songs likely aimed to capitalize on their commercial appeal, potentially leading to higher sales. Unfortunately, this approach resulted in the majority of Silvestri's compositions remaining unreleased. For enthusiasts seeking more of Silvestri's work on the film, unofficial releases and bootlegs have surfaced over the years, offering a more comprehensive collection of his score. However, these are not officially sanctioned and may vary in quality and availability. So, speaking of bootlegs, this is why we love the internet. An account on YouTube known as Tony Cruz 49, that's TonyCruz and the numbers 49, actually uploaded a video titled Practical Magic Alan Silvestri, and it has all of the other instrumental cues.
What?
Yeah, from the film that were never included on the main
Oh my
soundtrack.
God.
I don't know how they got access to all this or where these people find these bootlegs or how they even end up getting leaked,
Whoa.
but it's all there. Like
You
the
listen to
little
it?
yeah, like he's got the whole instrumental from the resurrection scene and when they're burying Jimmy, and the whole
Whoa.
moody pieces of when Sally is explaining to the aunts that the girls will never do magic when she moves in after Michael dies, and also the piece where Jillian wakes up in the middle of the night and walks out and says, "Jimmy, is that you?" Like all those little softer spots that like lull and stuff, that's not included in the main theme.
Hmm.
It's all there on that video.
God, that's
So
amazing.
yeah, and they also have the little, that up-tempo piece that plays behind Gary's interrogation of all the townspeople, and like that little
Yes.
bit inside of Sally's apothecary shop when Dwight comes in and
Yes.
I have a bone to pick with you. It's like that like weird slide guitar thing. It's like bow, ding, bow, 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 bow. It's there. It's all there.
Okay.
So listen, we will post that in our show notes on our hero page. You better run and not walk to go download that while you can before it disappears.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
I can't tell you how quick I hit that download button. I was like, download. So that's that. And then also there's a gorgeous video uploaded by an account called Haunting Comforts on YouTube. And the video is titled Amas Veritas Practical Magic Ambiance and Soundtrack Mix. They have one regular, I think it's like a half hour, and then one extended mix. It's like a full hour. And it's a whole hour of the main two cues plus some of the score's softer moments. And they add in some ambient sounds on top of it, like ocean waves or like the ocean waves crashing or trees rustling. And it's all playing against the still image of the beautiful house. So it's like,
There's some little moving
uh-huh.
fireflies down below too, like little
Yeah.
fairy lights or something.
It's one of those like ambient videos. So it's like nice to put this up as a screensaver on your TV if you just want some background sound while you're cooking or cleaning or, working on your computer or anything. It's such a nice, like cool little ambient video to just like have on in the background. So yeah, so I found those two things and I thought those were worth mentioning. And also as we've mentioned in our Michael Nyman episode, you can also hear his cues. Somebody has uploaded those to YouTube as well. So there's so much music that hasn't even been officially released that's like been leaked on the internet that you can find if you really want to look for it. But we will package it to you in a nice little bow and put it on our source page, on our hero page. So if you guys want to go check that out, check out our description on the episode in the links below for that. I think that I have a couple more little things before we head to our break, but can we just speculate for a moment? Like Alan Silvestri's film score was an integral part of Practical Magic. It is so iconic. I don't think that any of us could think of this movie and not hear that music in our heads. So, do we think that Mr. Allen will return to add his musical magic to Practical Magic too?
I think he will. I think they're gonna reuse the original stuff here and there.
Yeah.
And I think he's gonna have new stuff for us.
I hope so. As of right now, there's no official confirmation regarding Alan Silvestri's involvement in composing the score for the upcoming Practical Magic sequel. The project is currently in development with Susan Bier, is that how you say her name? Bier, Beer, or Bear, in talks to direct, and Akiva Goldsman will be back to write the screenplay. And then Nicole Kidman and Sandra Bullock are expected to reprise their roles. However, the details of the film's composer have yet to be announced. And given Silvestri's previous work on the original Practical Magic, it is possible that he may return for the sequel, but until official announcements are made, his involvement still is just pure speculative at this point. But I hope he comes back.
I do too.
I
Yeah,
really
yeah.
hope so. Was there anything else that you wanted to say or mention before we hop into our break?
I mean, now that we have a like from him on Instagram, I'm sure we can get a definite yes or no that I'm working on Practical Magic because we're best
He,
friends now.
he probably is not even allowed to say anything if he was, because
Probably not.
everything is so tight-lipped. And like we just talked to Becky Hartman Edwards, who executive produced Sudbury, and she like can't even talk about her upcoming projects right now.
Right.
Like everything until stuff is official and greenlit, like they really can't say anything. So
Yeah.
who knows how long it's going to be before we get those announcements, but I really hope we find something soon.
Yeah.
It'll be so good. But we are going to take a quick break now. And when we come back, we are, quote, pouring a little extra magic into conversations as we take a deeper dive into the man, the myth, and the legend, Alan Silvestri, We'll explore his iconic score for practical magic and swirl around some of his other creative endeavors. I don't know if you can, you're picking up on all the,
What you doing? Okay.
the wording here. So stick around, and this next part pairs perfectly with a good listen. Christina's like
confused.
Christina's like, what? They're wine analogies. He owns a wine.
Oh, okay, I'm an
We're
idiot.
gonna talk about that when we come back.
Get it together.
So
Bobby.
stick around, we will be right back. Hey little witches, Justina here, calling all practical magic fans and music lovers. This fall, get ready for something truly spellbinding from the Stinas. Christina and I started Magnolia Street podcast as a way to share our original music inspired by our favorite movie, Practical Magic. We've been hard at work in the recording studio since September, brewing up our 5-song debut EP, Magnolia Street Volume 1.
At the house on Magnolia Street, would you go down to Magnolia Street where the wisteria grow wild? At the house of magic and mystery, so would you go down to Magnolia Street?
You want the inside scoop on our music and the stories behind each song? Join our Rose tier on Patreon for just $8 a month and dive into exclusive content from our songsodes. Plus, bonus content from our highly anticipated upcoming EP. On there, you'll find lyric sheets, original demos, behind-the-scenes videos from the studio, blog posts, production notes, and more. Don't miss out on the magic. Keep up to date with us on our Instagram at Magnolia Street Podcast for all of our music news and be a part of our musical journey. The Stinas are bringing practical magic to life, one song at a time, right here on Magnolia Street.
You didn't go down to Magnolia Street. Magnolia Street.
Hey little witches, the Stinas here. If you've been listening to our podcast for a while, you would know how much we love using the Practical Magic Inner Witch Oracle deck by Grounded by the Moon.
And now we want to share the magic of Grounded by the Moon with you, our listeners. Joseph Benitez Egerton, the creator behind Grounded by the Moon, would like to offer this very special 10% off discount to all who wish to experience the magic of his Practical Magic themed tarot and oracle decks.
But that's not all. He also creates other divination tools like tarot workbooks, deck bags and altar cloths, pendulum kits, oil blends, cleansing sprays, smoke wands, teas, and ritual kits.
And let's not forget about his custom handcrafted, all-natural soy candles, where every candle is hand-poured and personally infused and charged under the light of the moon. They even come with a crystal.
And did we mention all of the ingredients in the candles are ethically sourced?
All of Joseph's offerings are just so magical. So go visit groundedbythemoon.com and use the coupon code Magnolia Magic for 10% off your entire order at checkout.
That's MAGNOLIA MAGIC. So get your discount today. Hey, we're the Stinas, and you're listening to Magnolia Street Podcast.
Alrighty.
Okay.
Welcome back.
Welcome.
I don't know why I said it like that.
Take those out. Take that out. Maybe we can ask the question: will Alan Silvestri be coming back to score Practical Magic too?
Yeah, what are those odds looking like?
Yeah. All right. Let's see. I guess let's see what card it's going to pull for us. We are using the Practical Magic Inner Witch Oracle by Grounded by the Moon. Go get 10% off your entire order on groundedbythemoon.com. All right. I'm going to shuffle. You tell me when to stop.
Stop. Wisteria.
Wisteria. Lucifer. Beelzebub. I like that one. So the keyword on this card is meditation. Have we picked this one before other than our Wisteria episode?
I don't think so.
I don't think we ever had this one happenstancely. So let's see what that one means. This says meditation and peace of mind. This says release yourself from the world, take comfort within yourself, silence the voices of others, and listen to the music of the world.
Shut up.
That's what it
That's
says. It says the music. Yeah.
Of the world.
Of the world. So take some time to disconnect and tap into the divine energy within, meditate, go within, and find your answers here. Maintain a powerful connection and remember to keep yourself grounded. Have a deep conversation with your deeper self and the universal energies available to you in this state. Step back and gain peace of mind before moving forward into your next endeavor. Maybe Alan is currently doing that.
I'm stoked. That's a great card.
Maybe that is his next endeavor. Who knows? So this says utilize the power of a purple candle, this card, and its affirmation while meditating to enhance your connections. And the mantra on this card is I find peace and guidance within the silence of my deeper self.
Oh my.
I like how it like specifically said music. Listen to the music.
It did. Many other cards. I don't know many that say music on them.
Right. And why would Wisteria have anything to do with music? So that is so weird that we would pick that out of there. That is wild.
How would we be doing that?
How we be doing that? That is amazing. I'm just gonna take that as a yes.
Yeah.
I would like to think so. Like Sally says, I would like to think so.
I would like to think so.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
We're gonna get into more about Alan himself, right? Like a little bit about his background. Who is his daddy? What does he do? Yeah, so in his ongoing decades-long career as a composer, Alan Silvestri has blazed an innovative trail with his exciting and melodic scores, winning the applause of Hollywood and movie audiences the applause of Hollywood and movie audiences the world over. With a credit list of over 100 films, Silvestri has composed some of the most recognizable and beloved themes in movie history. His efforts have been recognized with 2 Oscar nominations, 2 Golden Globe nominations, 3 Grammy Awards, 2 Emmy Awards, and numerous International Film Music Critics Awards, Saturn Awards, and Hollywood Music and Media Awards. So a little bit about Alan Anthony Silvestri. That's his full name. He was born March 26, 1950, which would make him an Aries, a fire sign, which would explain his expansive back catalog of vibrant, creative work, right? The man probably doesn't sleep. Look at his catalog of stuff. Like, he's worked on stuff that I didn't even realize he's worked on. So he's got so much stuff that he's done. He is an American composer, conductor, orchestrator, and music producer of film scores. He has received 2 Grammy Awards and 2 Primetime Emmy Awards, as well as nominations for 2 Academy Awards and 2 Golden Globe Awards. He has been associated with director Robert Zemeckis since 1984, composing music for nearly all of his feature films, including the Back to the Future film series between 1985 and 1990, Who Framed Roger Rabbit, one of my favorite movies, in 1988, Death Becomes Her, another one that I like, what? That's one of my favorite movies. 1992, Forrest Gump, 1994, Contact, 97, What Lies Beneath, also a great movie, in 2000, Castaway in 2000, The Polar Express in 2004, Beowulf in 2007, Flight in 2012, and The Walk in 2015. Silvestri also scored many other popular movies, including Predator in 87, The Abyss in 89, Father of the Bride in 91, The Bodyguard, oh my god, I love that soundtrack, in 92, Eraser in 96, The Parent Trap in 98, Stuart Little in 99, The Mummy Returns,
Billy Zane
in 01, Van Helsing in 04, Night at the Museum trilogy, G.I. Joe, The Rise of Cobra in 09, The A-Team in 2010, Ready Player One in 2018, and several Marvel Cinematic Universe films, including the Avengers films.
He's busy.
Oh my god.
He is busy.
That man is definitely an Aries. Like, just creative output, man. It's insane. So a little bit about his early life and education. Silvestri was born March 26, 1950. His grandparents emigrated in 1909 from the Italian town of Castelfaro and settled in Teaneck, New Jersey. What? Represent? Alan Silvestri is a fellow New Jerseyan? That's crazy. He grew up in Teaneck and graduated in 1968 from Teaneck High School. He attended Berklee College of Music for 2 years, and Silvestri, who did not grow up in a musical family, he dropped out of the Berklee College of Music in Boston after 2 years because he felt he wasn't good enough. So listen, imposter syndrome is alive and real, and like some of the most like renowned, accomplished people in the industry, they all have it. We all have imposter syndrome, right? It doesn't matter how accredited, how many awards you get, it's still very real thing. So his scoring skills are actually self-taught. His earliest musical memory was at 2 years old of drumming a beat on a binder during his sister's accordion lessons.
2 years old?
Yeah.
God damn.
He was a drummer for a short time in 1966 with a Teaneck-based rock band called the Wildcats.
Did you look for any music by the Wildcats?
No, not yet, but I want to go look that up now.
Yeah.
Yeah. So those neighbors in Teaneck, New Jersey, coaxed Silvestri to join their family band, playing in nightclubs in West New York and New Jersey for crowds of Cuban refugees. And this is a quote from Silvestri. He said, "Cuban music is highly rhythmic. It's a language, and when you learn to speak it with other people, there's a real, tangible, emotional connection." After nearly 2 years at Berklee, Silvestri left at 19 years old, intimidated by the musical talent of his classmates. He didn't have a plan until he got a call from the head of the Berklee guitar department asking if he would be willing to fill in as a guitarist for an 18-piece band in Las Vegas. Las Vegas. He found himself working 3 nightly shows with Wayne Cochran and the CC Riders and the house band at the Flamingo Lounge in Las Vegas, backed by a white soul singer with a large blonde pompadour. So like a backwards Elvis.
Elvis in reverse.
Elvis in reverse. So Silvestri toured with the band for 9 months, then moved to Los Angeles to try to make his own music. So he moved to Los Angeles in 1970, and he said, "I came to Hollywood in 1970 broke. I didn't even have any goals or plans. I didn't even go to the movies, and I knew nothing about composers or composing," he said. In 1972, while he was working intermittently as a session guitarist, the producer of a low-budget action film, The Doberman Gang, asked him to score the picture. Silvestri agreed, despite a lack of experience. "I went out and bought a how-to compose book by Earl Hagen. At one point, he said I was using beer cans for percussion." That just blows my mind. So he had no knowledge of even how to score a film, like wasn't even watching movies, like, and he just got sucked into that business.
Like, wow, I'm good at this.
Like the Stinas never wrote a musical before, but like how
look at us now.
Look, are we better
than
everyone? Like, who knows, like, where life and the road is going to take you, like what you're meant to be doing, you know?
Yeah, exactly.
So you never know where you're going to be even a week from now. So this says in California, he took a job making demo records. Casablanca Records hired him to help record a disco album for Donna Summer. One day, a film producer called Silvestri's workplace by accident, confusing the owner with a film composer that he admired. The owner didn't correct the caller and asked Silvestri if he would take the meeting instead.
Oh, what?
So yeah, a happenstance, right? Just like fate just drops something right into your lap, and you just gotta take it and listen. When opportunity comes a knocking,
take it and go.
Take it and go. Don't even ask any questions, right? It's like walking out of the store with like accidentally without paying for something, and you're like, hurry up, get in the car before they notice.
I was thinking like the fries you get at the bottom of the bag, like, oh, bag fries, like that's exciting. Like $20 in your pocket.
Unexpected, right? Those little surprises.
Expect the unexpected.
Exactly. And that's in and of itself, that is practical magic. That like the everyday, finding the magic in the everyday occurrences, like a violent parking lot violinists.
I thought you were going to say violent violinists.
Parking lot violinists that later turn out to be scams, but like, you know,
did I tell you what happened last week before? It was an expect the unexpected thing. On the way into work. I don't know. It was about money. I always worry about money. Yeah. And my boss is not young. And I'm like, I just need you to not go anywhere in the next 10 years. Please don't die. But jokingly in my mind, I was like, but if you do, leave me your money. Like just jokingly. And then that day when he was writing my check on a Friday, he was like, I'm going to write you another check for $1,000. And I want you to put it in your 401k. I'm like, what? Excuse me. Did I just do that? It was so random. It was like he's never done that before. And he was like, no, you've been here for 4 years. You're a long-term employee. We appreciate you. I know you're, set it aside, but promise me that it's going to go into your Roth IRA or whatever, whatever I put it
Yeah.
in. I was like, what? I
Wow,
did
that's
that.
amazing. You
He's
did
so
that.
sweet. Yeah.
Yeah, well, it's crazy. Like, not even words, like thoughts have power, you know?
Mhm,
Like,
mhm.
if you think it, maybe yeah, it could happen. You never
Yes.
know.
That's what I'm feeling with everything we're manifesting here. The Stevie Nicks, the,
Hmm. Yeah,
Alan
100%.
Silvestri coming back in.
Yeah, and he responded to he hearted our comments, so who knows?
Mhm.
Maybe we'll get to talk to him too. We're just on a freaking roll. I don't know, maybe 2025 is our year,
I
but
don't know.
I don't know, I'm just throwing it out there. And yeah. Yeah, remember that manifestation, the fan fiction we did with the Stevie Nicks, like our song's gonna be on the soundtrack?
Yes, ma'am.
We'll see what happens with that. We'll make it
2025 is a dumpster fire, but we have like the lighter fluid. We're just controlling how big the fire is going to get.
Yo, you know what? There's a quote that I heard. I don't know exactly how it goes, but it's something to the extent like when the world is like chaos around you, the people who really thrive are the artists because it really fuels their creativity. Like all the bullshit going around you, like it really does light the fire under your creative ass, so to
Yes.
speak, right?
It's like, don't panic. Don't panic. Just
Yeah.
do everything else.
Right. I mean, we're kind of disassociating a little bit just to like get through, but it's nice to be aware of things, but it's also nice to kind of go into your bubble and just create and do the
Mhm.
things that you know light you up and fulfill you
Yes, I
because it's
agree.
so much better than just like constantly being dialed into all the fear mongering and the hate and it's dark. It's dark sitting in that space. So being able to be creative, it's such a light in such a dark time.
Agreed. And all the stuff that you and I have been doing like separately on
Yeah.
our own that we
Yeah.
probably could have done, should have done years ago. We're
Yeah.
like now is the time to
Yeah.
do this. And it's just one extra thing, not just the podcast, not just the music, doing some writing, doing some art on the side.
Yeah.
We need this to survive.
Yes.
Artists need this to survive.
Yeah. It's our lifeline. It really is.
Yeah.
Yeah. So sorry not to go too much off on a tangent, but that's all the truth. And like it's so nice to read stories of like, people who we admire and look up to in the industry and like talking about Alan Silvestri and how all this happenstance, how he got started in his career and how we just talked to Becky Hartman Edwards and how she got started in her career. Things just kind of line up when they're supposed to. And it's really encouraging to hear stories like that because that's what keeps me going as an artist and a creative. That's what keeps me going because like you really never know who's listening or who wants to help you get through those doors. It's fascinating. So going back to Alan Silvestri, he took this call that was not meant for him.
It wasn't even meant for the other guy, really, was it?
No, it just so happened to be at his studio, and the other guy was like, "Here, take this call," and he was like, "Okay."
Okay.
So, yeah, Silvestri took the meeting instead, and he said, "I went to the Pickwick Bookshop on Hollywood Boulevard and asked if they had any books on how to score films." He didn't even know how to score a film. And he was given this opportunity. It was like that interview that we talked about with Stockard Channing when she was given the part she had to speak French. She's like, "Yeah, I speak fluent French."
Yeah. No, she did not.
Did not. She did not, but sometimes you gotta fake it till you make it, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
So he got all these books on how to score films. And there was one on the shelf, he said, written by Earl Hagen, a star in the business who co-wrote and whistled the theme song to the Andy Griffith Show. So Silvestri met with the producer, who wanted music for a 1972 film about 6 dogs who rob a bank. So yeah, the name of the movie is The Doberman Gang. So literally he said, "I start talking, and I got the job," Silvestri said.
That's so crazy.
Yeah, The Doberman Gang was his first credit. It didn't do well in the United States, but it made good money in foreign markets. He was still waiting for his big break, though. That wasn't considered his big break. It was just something that got him started in the world of film composing, right? So that I guess when opportunity came a knocking later on, that he could jump right in and be like, "Okay, yeah, now I know how to do this. Let's do this." So he was waiting for his big break, and it came on the day that he returned from his Hawaiian honeymoon in 1978. He married Sandra Shu, his wife of 35 years. They met on a plane.
Oh,
Yeah.
whoa.
And she was a former Ford model. She slipped a note with her phone number into his briefcase when he wasn't looking.
Sassy.
Sandra. Once again, out of work, the newlywed returned home to a message from the head of the MGM music department. A new TV series about two California Highway Patrol officers, Chips, was about to enter its second season. The show was not doing well, and the producers hoped that revamping the music would help. Silvestri scored the entire first episode of the second season to a disco beat.
Hell yeah.
Well, yeah, now he had that Donna Summer experience under his belt, right?
Yeah, that's the way to go.
That's the way, yeah. So he used an electric drums kit and Japanese electronic keyboards, and the show became a big hit.
Alan.
There you go, Alan. That's how you do it. Silvestri had a job for the next 4 years. Listen, getting paid work in the industry, it's hard to get paid work, and
Imagine. Oh my God.
if you can manage to find a gig to get you paid or consistently for that amount of stretch of time, that's a big deal. So during that time, a co-worker referred Silvestri to the Hollywood director Robert Zemeckis, who wanted help scoring a film called Romancing the Stone.
Oh,
You know that film?
it's
You
kind of
seen
a
it?
satire. It's funny.
Okay. Silvestri made a 3-minute clip on a drum machine to accompany a scene of the lead characters running through a jungle. Days later, actor Michael Douglas called Silvestri to tell him he got the job.
Wow.
Yeah.
Michael
so-
Douglas calling the shots.
Yeah, it's crazy. So it says last year Silvestri scored Flight, the 14th time he's teamed up with Zemeckis. It's like Tim Burton and Danny Elfman, right? Like they
Yeah.
have a long-standing relationship since the 80s of working together. I guess like
You find your style.
Yeah.
You see what works. Don't
Uh-huh.
change it.
right, and you find that person that you just like click with and have that creative chemistry with, and like it's a match made in creative heaven.
Like
the
Gemini
Stinas.
and Sagittarius. Yeah.
Gemini, yeah. I wonder what Zemeckis's sun sign is.
Oh, okay.
What's the sister Aries of Aries? So what is Robert Zemeckis's sun sign? Wait, hold on. May 14th. So he is not Yeah, he's a Taurus. So they're not sister signs, but that would have been crazy if they were. So he started off working with Robert Zemeckis, got the job. Michael Douglas told me he got the job. Alan Silvestri says, at some point you really start to see your career as a body of work. It has a whole life of its own, and it's not really you. For the last 2 decades, the Silvestris have lived on a 14-acre property on the Highlands that includes a cottage for Silvestri's parents, who are in their 90s, and the couple prefer the scenery and solitude of Carmel to Los Angeles or New York, even though it means they are less available for working lunches with industry insiders. Their eldest daughter is a special education teacher in the Bay Area. Their middle son is a poet living in Arizona. And their youngest son is studying music at the University of Southern California. Sandra, his wife, established the Monterey Bay chapter of the Juvenile Diabetes Research Foundation. The Silvestris, whose middle son has diabetes, focus much of their philanthropy on diabetes research. Sandra is also involved with the family's winemaking operation, which produces about 2,500 or 2,500 cases a year of Chardonnay, Pinot Noir, and Syrah. Today, there is a museum near the Silvestri family home outside of Piedmont, Italy, with a display devoted to Silvestri's accomplishments. It means more to him than any red carpet in Hollywood. His grandparents emigrated in 1908 from the Italian... Oh, we said this before. So his grandparents emigrated and settled in Teaneck to raise their family, and Silvestri still remembers his grandmother making wine in the basement.
That's cool.
That is so European.
Yeah.
Right? So this says Silvestri's career from 1978 to 1983. He was the main composer for the television series Chips. He wrote music for 95 of the show's 139 episodes. On IMDb, there is a quote about his first encounter with Robert Zemeckis during the production of Romancing the Stone in 1984, and he said, "I'm standing there in this Calvin Klein white sweater, and all of a sudden, Bob, Robert Zemeckis, walks in wearing the exact same sweater, and right then, we knew that we were connected for life." And it's like the little things like that, like, I guess you could see as signs. Like, if you need any sign from the universe that you're on the right path, it's usually those like little teeny tiny synchronicities, like me and you seeing a parking lot violinist on the same day. Like, it's weird, right?
Pretty early on in our working relationship.
Yeah, very true. So, though the Zemeckis-Silvestri collaboration is legendary, Silvestri has scored films of every imaginable style and genre. His energy has brought excitement and emotion to the hard-hitting orchestral scores for Steven Spielberg's Ready Player One, James Cameron's The Abyss, as well as Predator and The Mummy Returns, and Alan's diversity is on full display in family entertainments, films such as The Father of the Bride 1 and 2, Parent Trap, Stuart Little 1 and 2, Disney's Lilo and Stitch, The Croods, as well as Night at the Museum 1, 2, and 3, while his passion for melody fuels the romantic emotion of films like The Bodyguard and What Women Want. Since then, he has composed the music for all of Zemeckis' movies, including Back to the Future trilogy, Who Framed Roger Rabbit, Death Becomes Her, Forrest Gump, Contact, Castaway, Polar Express, Beowulf, Christmas Carol, Flight, and The Walk. I didn't realize that Zemeckis did all of those films. In 1989, Silvestri composed the score for the James Cameron-directed film The Abyss, and since 2001, he has collaborated regularly with Stephen Sommers, scoring the films The Mummy Returns, Van Helsing, and G.I. Joe, The Rise of the Cobra. He also composed the Image Movers opening theme. Silvestri has composed the scores for 4 Marvel Cinematic Universe films: Captain America: The First Avenger in 2011, The Avengers in 2012, Avengers Infinity War in 2018, and Avengers Endgame in 2019. His themes and motifs from those films have been referenced and reprised by other composers in multiple other MCU films. Silvestri has also composed music for television series, including T.J. Hooker, which was just 1 episode, Starsky and Hutch, 3 episodes, and Tales from the Crypt, 7 episodes. In 2014, he composed the award-winning music for the science documentary series Cosmos, A Space-Time Odyssey, and he wrote new songs with Glenn Ballard for the live-action CGI film adaptation of Disney's Pinocchio. So a little bit about his personal life and his winery, because I was interested. I was like, okay, this guy has so much going on with like the music. He's got other things that he loves to do as well, and it seems like him and his wife poured their passion into this vineyard. So him and his wife Sandra own a vineyard, Silvestri Vineyards, in Carmel Valley, California, and he also has a wine tasting room for his vineyards on the ground floor of the Enchanted Oaks building. He has a daughter and 2 sons. He is a licensed pilot and he flies his own jet aircraft. What can't this man do, right? Like, he does it all. So a little bit about his vineyard. So Silvestri Vineyards began in the Piedmont region of Italy as an immigrant's dream of a better life. The year was 1908 when a young girl from Castellalfero and a young boy from Navarra prepared to leave home and travel to America. Joseph, also known as Joe Silvestri, and Eugenia Jenny Martinetto will later meet and marry in New York's Little Italy, where they worked in the restaurant business. With the arrival of their children, they moved across the Hudson River to Teaneck, New Jersey, with the hope of building a life and a business of their own. In 1950, a grandson would be added to their legacy, and it was the grandson that the Silvestri family will once again feel the wanderlust that had brought them to this land of dreams and opportunity. Finding his voice in music, Alan Silvestri traveled to Los Angeles in search of his dream through the pursuit of his art. Music was his vehicle for expression, but food and wine, the staples of life at home, were never far from his heart. After meeting his wife Sandra in 1978, they would often travel back east, where family events and occasions were always marked by wonderful food served with Jenny and Joe's homemade wine. Alan and Sandra's first of 3 children, Alexandra, was born in 1983, and the young family lived in Los Angeles while Alan developed his career in film music. Times were good, but something was missing. In 1989, they moved north to Carmel and bought an old house that inspired them to once again take a chance and commit to a new part of the world. It was in this house that the motif of their life was found. The double window and arch represent the fulfillment of a journey which began almost 100 years ago. With the planting of these vines rooted in the rich and fertile land of Carmel Valley, the Silvestris once again have roots. They once again have that elusive sense of being home. Although Jenny and Joe never got to drink these Silvestri wines, their vision lives on in the tastes and smells of fruit lovingly grown for the wines inspired by their dream.
I was trying to see how much it would be to ship, because they do shipping to the US. So a bottle of Chardonnay is around the $35, which is a good value. It's about $38 though for ground. Or you can pick up free at a tasting room. So they probably will ship it to another vineyard and you could go pick it up there. So there's free shipping for that. That's not bad.
Yeah.
That's not bad at all.
I think I saw like you can also join a club or like the membership. Is that the membership, or is that just like if you want to buy like a bottle?
That was just a bottle. Yeah.
Okay. I wonder how much the membership costs.
So the club, you get 20% discount on club fulfillments, purchases made online, and a tasting room, 20% off discount on top of promotional sales items, 3 times 4-bottle automatic fulfillments annually, March, September, December, choice of Alan or Sandra's selection, red wine only, white wine only, birthday discounts, complimentary tastings, offering club guarantee, and a newsletter.
A newsletter.
All right. Silvestri Vineyards is located approximately 15 miles from the Pacific Ocean of Carmel Valley. This location is a key element in the terroir of the unique site. During the growing season, the cool marine influence on one side and the much warmer inland mountains on the other side subject this spot to daily afternoon winds, bringing dramatic temperature drops even on the sunniest days. The tight construction of the valley at this point creates an even greater wind velocities here. The vineyards are on benchlands and hillsides several hundred feet above the valley floor, further exposing them to the marine onshore flow. Only cooler climate varieties can be expected to ripen here. The very rocky soils are based on a soft shale, locally referred to as chalk rock. Devigorating?
Yeah, what is that word? Devigorating?
Devigorating
What's that word?
rootstocks were selected to advance the harvest date and match differing soil conditions within the vineyard. Varieties were also matched to different soil conditions, sun and wind exposure. All varieties are a mix of 3 to 5 different clones originally selected in research stations in France. This was done to take advantage of the early ripening characteristics of these selections and to provide a palette of flavors from which to create elegant and complex wines. Soil surveys and planning of the vineyard started in late 1998. The same year, Practical Magic came out.
Wow, yeah.
And through 1999. The first blocks of 3 varieties totaling about 4.25 acres were planted in the spring of 2000. The following year, the remaining 6.5 acres were planted. The first harvest was the fall of 2003, with all blocks producing by the harvest of 2004. Maximum yields of all the varieties in approximately 3 tons per acre, with the younger and less vigorous vines carrying substantially less fruit. The Chardonnay and the Pinot Noir typically are harvested in late September or early October, and the Syrah in late October. Bud break is usually 3 to 4 weeks behind the nearby Stinas Valley, appellations reflecting the influence of the nearby mountains.
That sounds beautiful.
Would love to go to Italy.
Yeah.
Alan, we're coming.
I wonder how far that is from LA.
I went to Sonoma once in
Did you?
Napa because a
Was it
friend
good?
of mine, her family owns like a port
Uh-huh.
winery that's right
Oh,
behind Sutter House.
okay.
Sutter, like the big bottle you can get
Oh,
of like
yeah.
Sutter House.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
like right behind there. That house is like a beautiful Victorian. I'm trying to
Wow. Okay.
Prager wine was theirs. I'm gonna look where this is.
A little bit about their winemaking practices. It involves hands-on techniques such as French oak barrel fermentation for the Chardonnay and small open-topped fermentators for the red varieties. The goal is to use traditional methods to allow the expression of the terroir while taking advantage of modern knowledge about wine fermentation and aging. And they have so many different wines we're going to talk about in just a second. But Christina, did you find where this is or how to get there?
So they're gonna be north of LA. They're closer to San Francisco. Yeah, just south of like Santa Cruz area.
Okay.
Monterey Bay. They're in the Monterey Bay
Got it.
area.
Got it. So it's quite a drive. Like if you flew into LA, you would have to drive north, or you're probably better off just flying into San Fran and then driving
Yeah.
from there. All right. So yeah, they have so many different varieties of wine. So they have a 29. These are all on their website, by the way. I guess you could probably order any of these off of their website. They have a 29 Cabernet, and this says it's grown atop the hills of our Carmel Valley estate. It's a 100 Cabernet Sauvignon. It shows a dense blackberry and plum on the nose with black currant and mushroom undertones with a full, rich mouthfeel. That sounds nice. Do you like reds or whites better?
I like reds better.
Yeah, me too. Me too.
Whites give me like a little bit of heartburn.
Headache. Maybe, do the whites have more sugar in them? Is that why?
I think so. I think
Yeah.
so. Merlot really doesn't sit well either with
Yeah.
me. I like a blend.
I like
Blends
a
or a
ooh.
Cabernet.
Yes.
I
Yes.
can't stand a sweet like Moscato. I can't. Give me a headache.
Right. No, I'm with you on that.
Mm.
The next one on this is a 2019 Eugenia, and this says it's a unique blend of our estate red. This one's right up your alley. The blend of our estate reds, 35% Malbec, 30% Cabernet Franc, 15% Cabernet Sauvignon, 15% Merlot, and what's this word?
Petit Verdot.
Petit Verdot at 25% new French oak, aged 18 months in a barrel. And this proprietary red wine blend is designated Eugenia for Alan's grandmother. It was named after her.
Cute.
That is cute. Yeah. The next one is a 2021 Pinot Noir. And this is a spiced aromas of clove and nutmeg complement. And this Pinot Noir is fruit forward flavors of black cherry and raspberry. That sounds yummy. So there's a 2021 Pinot Noir Piave, and Piave is a river in northern Italy, but also the middle name of their father, Louis Silvestri, the first born son of Italian immigrant parents who has inspired so many of the values that Silvestri Vineyards attempts to embody. A deep love of family, a commitment to work and the joy of life, striving for excellence, a positive attitude in the face of adversity, and a, quote, rising tide to all he meets. Our newest wine family member is also our oldest family member. Welcome, Piave, and salute, Pop. We love and salute you both. We are designating this Pinot Noir Piave for our father, Louis Piave Silvestri. It has notes of black raspberry fruit flavors and a dose of spice blend seamlessly from aroma to palate. Enjoy the long, lingering finish. Happy with lamb, burgers, or roasted duck.
I love duck.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Do you? I don't think I've ever had duck.
I love
Is it
duck. Do you
gamey?
like green curry? We used to
I
go
like,
to this place
I'm more of
and you
like a
could
red curry fan, but yeah. Yeah, it's good.
any so we would go and you can pick your protein and
Yeah.
they had duck and green curry and I was
Mhm.
I'd lose my mind. It was so good.
That's
Greasy. It's a
yeah.
greasy
Is it
good.
greasy?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I might have had it maybe once, but yeah.
Slides right down.
Mm. It's not too gamey?
No.
No?
No,
Okay.
ma'am.
Yeah, I can't get on board with like the gamey meat, like the meats. So
You
if
just gotta
it's,
have it cooked right. Like
yeah.
everybody's like lamb is so gamey. I'm like, because they're not cooking it right.
Yeah, that's
I can
true.
taste the gamey.
I do like lamb, and I
Me
know a lot
too.
of people don't because of that reason, but I do
Hmm.
like it.
I
So
do.
yeah, if it's cooked right, I'll try anything. So the next one on this list is a 2021 Syrah, and this is a 2021 Red Ranger, the eighth release of our signature Syrah that represents a part of the vineyard featuring the Bien Nacido clone. Oh, I guess is that a grape? They probably, I don't know, propagated maybe a different type of grape or something. The award-winning Syrah is a blackberry forward followed with a smooth peppery finish, aged in 75% new French oak barrels, bringing out notes of cashew and dark chocolate. I love when a wine has a little hint of chocolate to it. So good. It says we are designating our reserve Syrah Red Ranger after our son Joey, a mild-mannered poet, until you face him on the longboard down blackberry, blackcurrant, and a trace of fig lead to the full mouthfeel, just the right acidity and a long, luscious finish. Try with a sausage stew and roasted meats or aged hard cheeses. I love that they include their family in all of these descriptions and names. Like,
Yeah. It's very personal.
it is. That's
It's
really
very
cute.
personal. I
Yeah.
kind of glanced down below and it said Total Wine and More. We have those here. I don't know if you have those where
Uh-huh.
you are, but I went to their website and typed in Silvestri and they have their Pinot Noir, their Syrah, their Chardonnay,
Okay.
and their Moscato. So
Oh,
like
wow.
not in the Charlotte one, but like I can get it delivered to that store.
Yeah. Maybe next time we have a get together, we'll have to make that a thing.
Yeah.
Have a little wine tasting.
Alan.
Little Alan Silvestri wine tasting and put his little
Yes.
soundtrack
Instead
on
of
in the
that
background.
bootleg fucking tequila.
Oh, yeah.
Bathtub tequila.
Oh man, that stuff was horrible. That tequila. Bleh. We'll definitely up our game for the next time we
We're gonna be so
get
bougie.
together. Yeah. So they have a 2021 Pinot Noir, a 2021, how do you say this? Grenache. And it's a 90% Grenache, 10% Syrah. I'm just trying to see if there's anything else related to his family that really sticks out to me. The 2019 Moscato is like citrus and orange blossoms aromas, which sounds really nice. It's like that's a dessert wine.
A Grenache, down below it says originated in Spain, widely
Okay.
used in rosé.
Ooh, yeah. This one says this it's a dessert wine that packs a punch of flavors starting with blood orange and then softens up to a light honeysuckle.
I love that.
That sounds nice. That sounds refreshing,
It
actually.
does. That's
Yeah.
a summer evening drink. I love blood orange.
Summer solstice wine,
Mm.
right? Yeah. I'm sure the aunts would definitely be drinking this.
Aunts approved.
Aunts
We
approve,
need
yeah.
stickers that say Owen's aunts approve.
And just stick them on random bottles of wine.
Yeah, yes.
The Stinas approved bottles of wine. Yeah,
Yes.
aunts approved. It'll be our pictures of us as the aunts on the
Yeah.
bottle with the little thing on.
I love that.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm,
yeah.
mm-hmm.
The next one is a 2021 Barbera, and that's a red grape varietal originating from the Piedmont region of northwestern Italy. This says our small block of Barbera is the first planting of this varietal in Carmel Valley and was added to the vineyard in honor of the Silvestri family heritage. Its position on a warm southern-facing slope allows this varietal to mature and ripen to its fullest potential before harvest. With the influence of French oak barrel fermentation and maturation, our Barbera exudes a deep richness and complexity that helps balance the grape's high acidity. And this is a black cherry, dried strawberry, and plum aroma blend through to light flavors and move on to a full, soft tannins with sufficient acidity, a more refined yet full-flavored Barbera. I think the rest from here on out are all white wines or rosés. They have a 2021 rosé. This one's the Grenache, originating from Spain. Is this the one you were just talking about?
I just scanned for the word Grenache because I hadn't heard it either.
Yeah, this sounds nice. A light floral nose gives way to a plush palate, rolling white peach, light watermelon, and fresh strawberry. 2021 Syrah. That one says blackberry and plum flavors. A subtle hint of black pepper, which is interesting. And then, yeah, all these white wines. They have a 2021 Chardonnay, Bella Sandra, a 2021 Pinot Gris. And this one's named after their daughter, after their daughter Alexandra, which is a childhood nickname. This was the wine that she and her husband Chris had on their very first date. Crisp with floral jasmine aromas and an interplay of white nectarine and grapefruit, balanced by a touch of honey, which makes it ideal for a refreshing sip. And then they have the 2021 Pinot Blanc, and that one's named after their son James, that's the one that races cross country. And this is a combination of creamy and a round mouth feel with subtle vanilla and red apple notes, along with a hint of minerality, suggests a well-balanced, polished experience. And then the last one is the 2021 Chardonnay, Tre Bambine. I guess that means like 3 babies.
Tre Bambine.
Tre Bambine. The combination of light oak with tropical fruit like pineapple, mango, and richness of apricot suggests a vibrant yet creamy wine. It's a great balance of fresh fruit and subtle oak influence, perfect for those who enjoy a layered, complex Chardonnay. So there's a wide range of like different types of wines, and like between the reds and the whites, and
It's got something for
they
everybody.
all sound so
Just
unique.
like practical magic.
There you go. And they all sound so unique, and I love how they incorporate the family aspect and element into this whole endeavor, this whole thing that they're doing. So yeah, you can buy their wines. They're available at a variety of restaurants and retailers from San Jose to Ventura, and there's a whole list on the website that you can toggle to see what's closest to your area if you are out on the West Coast. And on their website, Alan's wife Sandra has a blog where she updates us on the workings of their winery, plus little personal snapshots in their day-to-day life, balancing owning a winery with Alan's high-profile career as a Hollywood music composer and producer. Her most recent blog post was posted December 24th, 2024, so a couple months ago at this point. And look at this picture of them. They're so cute. They're so cute. She's got on a little Santa hat, and they're just out in the sunshine of the winery, and you see those rolling hills behind them. And she says, "Happy December. Last weekend, Alan and I met Frank, our winemaker, at the Silvestri tasting room in downtown Carmel by the Sea. It was our wine club pickup day. Daniela had prepared a wonderful cheese and cracker spread that everyone was able to enjoy as they pick up their wine club bottles. We had such a great time hanging out with our customers and sharing tales of life and wine. Thank you to everyone who was there and everyone that we miss seeing, and we look forward to seeing you in the future." And speaking of the future, Back to the Future, the musical US tour, is coming to San Francisco. I love how she she promotes her man, his work. That's so cute. Coming to San Francisco February 12th through March 9th, 2025 at the Orpheum Theater, and that's at 1192 Market Street in San Francisco, and tickets are available now. And she says, "Today, Alan and I spent the day at the Vineyard filming a small video for the Royal Manchester Children's Hospital. In 2020, we spent 6 weeks in Manchester, UK, preparing the musical. We were invited by the hospital to visit the children before we could go, but COVID arrived and we all had to leave the UK. It was heartbreaking, but ever since then, we have sent holiday messages to the children and their families. This year, we filmed our little piece in the vineyard. It was so beautiful and peaceful among the sleeping plants that it reminded us of how very fortunate we have been in our lives. We are grateful for so many things: our children and grandchildren, our relatives and friends, our community, Alan's work, our children's work, and especially you, our loyal customers. We want to take this moment to thank all of you for your continued support. We say it every month, but it is true every month. We could not do this without you. We wish you all a very happy holiday season. With much love, salute, Sandra." And you can also find them on their Instagram at Silvestri Vineyards. That's their handle. Yeah.
Are we following them?
I think I did follow them. I might have. I don't know if I did yet.
Alan, because we
Alan.
call him Alan,
We're on a
has
first name basis.
yeah. He's received 2 Academy Award nominations, Best Original Score for Forrest Gump. I can't tell you how many times I have seen Forrest Gump, probably 50, 60. I don't know. I don't know why I was just needed to repeat, and it probably was this beautiful score. And Best Original Song for Believe in the Polar Express soundtrack. He also received 2 Golden Globe nominations, Best Score for Forrest Gump and Best Song for Polar Express. Silvestri received an honorary doctorate of music from Berklee College of Music in 95. He has also received 9 Grammy Award nominations, winning 2 awards, Best Song Written for a Motion Picture, Television, or Other Visual Media for Believe from the Polar Express 2004, and Best Instrumental Composition for Castaways end credits from the movie Castaway in 2002. His other nominations were Best Album of Original Score Written for a Motion Picture or Television Special, and Best Instrumental Composition for Back to the Future in 1985. The Best Album of Original Instrumental Background Score Written for a Motion Picture or Television for Who Framed Roger Rabbit. Best Instrumental Composition for Who Framed Roger Rabbit's The Suite in 1989. Best Pop Instrumental Performance for I'm Forrest Gump, the feather theme when the feather is floating around. Best Instrumental Composition for Avengers Infinity War in 2018. Best Score Soundtrack for Visual Media for Avengers Endgame in 2019. And during the 2005 Grammy Awards, Josh Groban performed Believe. Oh, Josh.
Yeah.
He has also won 2 Emmys, both for Cosmo, A Spacetime Odyssey, Outstanding Main Title Theme Music, and Outstanding Music Composition for a Series for the episode Standing Up in the Milky Way. He has won the Saturn Award for Best Music 3 times for his score for Predator in 1987, Back to the Future 3 in 89, 90, and Van Helsing. How does Van Helsing keep coming back into our orbit?
That and The Mummy. He's also done The Mummy Returns.
It's so weird. On September 23rd, 2011, he received the Max Steiner Film Music Achievement Award from the city of Vienna, the yearly Film Music Gala Concert, Hollywood in Vienna.
Nice. Has he done any films with Billy Zane?
Oh my God. Guaranteed. Let's ask ChatGPT.
Oh my goodness.
How many degrees of separation between Alan Silvestri and Billy Zane?
Probably like 1. He's probably worked on
Really?
something he's
Yeah.
worked on.
2 degrees.
Really? Okay.
Alan Silvestri composed the score for Back to the Future, which starred Christopher Lloyd. Christopher Lloyd starred in Tales of the Crypt Presents Demon Knight, which featured Billy Zane in the leading role.
There you fucking go.
How about that?
Remember, like, I forget what episode was it. We tried to use our brains doing that. We both short circuited.
We're idiots.
We did it though. It just took us a minute.
It did.
Instead of ChatGPT coming in and be like, you idiot.
Well,
actually. So funny. Yeah. Oh my God. He's done so many things. So we're gonna round this up right now and talk about the 7 best Alan Silvestri soundtracks. And this was posted on classicfm.com. And this was published June 28th, 2018. So quite a while ago, and I'm sure he's done a lot more since then. But then it says this was updated June 20. Oh wait, no, never mind. It was the same day that it was updated, just a couple hours later. I guess somebody forgot to, like, I don't know, end it with a punctuation, and they just went back and
okay.
I don't know. So Alan Silvestri seems to be able to work on almost any genre of film, from Forrest Gump to The Avengers, and is widely considered one of the greatest action movie composers of our time. These are, we think, his best film scores to date. So first we have Forrest Gump, and this says, both rousing and incredibly sad, Silvestri's musical accompaniment to the award-winning 1994 movie was crucial to its success. After the album was released, it crept up to number 2 on the Billboard 200 albums chart and stayed there for 7 weeks. From the beautifully simple piano theme to the rising strings, this soundtrack is a weep fest from start to finish. The next one is Captain America. If Silvestri's score were accompanying anything but a Marvel movie, its old-school symphonic sound might risk feeling outdated. But it's the combination of the triumphantly original brass melody, steady marching beat, and the final unexpected drum roll that makes Silvestri's Captain America soundtrack heroic, with a perfectly judged slice of cheese. What? Then we have the Avengers, and Silvestri's score to the first Avengers film is especially or epically nostalgic and varied in its orchestration, beginning with a staccato bass in the cellos and double basses and moving into a glorious melody in the horns. Now an instrumental part of the franchise's success, Silvestri wanted the Avengers score to be representative of all the characters coming together. He reused his theme for Captain America as well as introducing new ones, including the theme for Black Widow. And then we have, again, next on this list, another Avengers movie, The Infinity War. Silvestri describes scoring Infinity Wars as a really different experience than anything that he's ever done before, especially in regard to the approach and balancing quick shifts in tone. A soundtrack with a slightly more threatening feel was written by reprising the main theme from the Avengers as well as adding the theme from Black Panther. And then we have Polar Express, and that says magical and wonderfully festive. Silvestri's soundtrack wound up selling as a very successful holiday album with a massive 724,000 copies sold in the US. The hit song Believe, written by Silvestri and Glenn Ballard, was nominated for Best Original Score at the 77th Academy Awards, and it was sung at the awards show, what you said before, by Josh Groban, and this says and Beyonce. Oh yeah, didn't say that before. But yeah, Josh Groban and Beyonce collabed on that. And then next on this list is Who Framed Roger Rabbit. Silvestri's soundtrack is playful and slapstick with improvisation at heart, and the London Symphony Orchestra, who play all the music on the soundtrack, even improvised all of Jessica Rabbit's themes. When recording the soundtrack with the LSO director, Zemeckis joked that the, quote, British could not keep up with the Silvestri jazz tempo, but his joke was, of course, meant lightheartedly. And then lastly on this list is Back to the Future. When it comes to Hollywood blockbuster soundtracks, you need to have one killer musical phrase to get you started. Star Wars has one, Lord of the Rings has one, and you could argue that James Bond has dozens, but Silvestri's Back to the Future is right up there with them. Brassy, bombastic, and instantly iconic, and it sums up the whole trilogy in a simple phrase. Bombastic. And that was the last one on the list, but I mean, like, how did Practical Magic not make this list?
Yeah. Well, maybe just because of the two songs are just the only well-known ones that made the CD at the time. The only full audio we have is, kind of limited.
Yeah, it is limited, but I mean, like, those two themes, the Almas Veritas and the self-titled Practical Magic track, they're so iconic, and like, yeah, they keep getting reused on social media and reused and reused, and like, you can't not hear that and just be like,
who wrote this? We need to write them with a correction.
Yeah, we need to have them update this.
It doesn't have a writer's name.
I have a bone to pick with them. The product doesn't work.
The product doesn't work.
Okay, Dwight. Who wrote this, Dwight? So just to talk about some of the upcoming projects that Alan has coming out, he's working on The Electric State, and he's the composer. This says, okay, so he's composing and conducting, and it says the status on that one is completed, and that will be released in 2025. Then we have Avengers Doomsday. He's the composer. That's in pre-production currently, and that will be released in 2026. Then we have Avengers Secret Wars, and he will be the composer, and that is still in development. That's not even in pre-production. That won't be released until 2027. And then a couple other projects. There's no real other information on like when the release is going to be, but one of those projects is called Play Dirty, and that's in post-production, and a project called Larry Boy, and that's in pre-production, and he will be composer on both of those. So Practical Magic 2 is not on that list yet, but also the IMDb page for Practical Magic 2 is not really that fleshed out. There's only a few key people on there, so really no news on that yet, but we will try our best to keep you guys updated if anything new comes into play.
We need Mallory's IMDb Pro.
That's right.
Pro, check for us because we are on a budget. We need some answers.
Give us answers. Somebody, if anybody knows anything, please let us know. So Practical Magic 2 is not on that list, but the fandom can only hope and pray and do our manifestation work that Mr. Allen will make his return for the long-awaited sequel. I think we can all agree that any Practical Magic film ever made again will not be the same without his little stamp of his musical presence on it, right?
Yeah. And some news we got this week is that, well, at least the post that I found was an interview with Griffin Dunn, and he had a little bit to say about Practical Magic 2 and not being asked to partake in that, and just understanding that they're trying to use more female directors and producers, and he totally gets it. He was like, I felt so lucky to be involved with it the first time around and be included in that generation of women.
Yeah.
So that's kind of a bummer. It's not going to be the same, but that might be a good thing. It might be cool to see another side. It could be a darker side.
Right.
I guess we'll wait and see.
I'm excited to see it from the perspective of a woman though, because the woman is so centrally the movie is so centrally focused around women and
Yes.
generations of women.
Yes.
And I think it would be refreshing to see it from an actual woman's point of view. So I do think it would be good in that aspect, but I am gonna miss his quirkiness, you know, and
Yeah.
and all those elements he did add to the film in '98. Wouldn't that be some shit if Alan Silvestri turned down, if they did offer
Oh
him
my
to come back, and if he turned it down and they went back and hired Michael Nyman?
no, shut your mouth. Shut up.
So you just know that I had to have JathPT write a fan fiction.
Oh no. I'm trying to
So-
plug my phone in. Hold on.
This is titled A Score of Second Chances. So this says, Alan Silvestri sat in his sun-drenched California studio, a half-finished orchestral sketch spread out before him. The call had come in that morning, Practical Magic 2. Warner Brothers wanted him back. He ran a hand through his silver hair, staring at the sheet music, and then he glanced at his schedule. Marvel deadlines loomed. Another Avengers installment. A more larger-than-life heroes in need of his signature, sweeping melodies. With a sigh, he picked up the phone. It's an honor, he told the exec on the other end, but my schedule was packed. I just can't commit to it. There was a pause. We understand, Alan, truly, but between us, we still want a composer with a strong melodic sensibility, someone who could bring a unique, timeless feel to the film. Silvestri hesitated. The name was already forming in his mind before the exec even said it. We're thinking of reaching out to Michael Nyman.
No, it's even worse that he was thinking it too.
Silvestri chuckled softly, shaking his head. Now that's interesting, he said. So, in London, Michael Nyman had nearly forgotten Practical Magic even existed. He remembered the sting of being replaced. The studio's words, too European, too obtrusive, but that had been years ago. He had moved on, or so he thought. The email sat in his inbox, blinking at him like a ghost of the past. Dear Mr. Nyman, we hope this email finds you well. With Alan Silvestri unavailable to return for Practical Magic 2, we'd like to extend the opportunity to you.
Being the second pick
Again,
is even worse.
it's so fucked up that happened.
You were busy, so we picked this other guy.
It's like that Love is Blind.
Yeah, yeah.
It's like how does it feel being somebody's number two? That really sucks. So Michael Nyman read the words twice, 3 times, then a slow smile crossed his face. Perhaps the magic had always been his to begin with, but then crept in. Was this a second chance, or simply scraps from Silvestri's play?
He seems diabolical.
Oh my god, ChatGPT, what are you doing? A token offer because the studio had no one else? The bitterness of his past dismissal still lingered, threatening to choke out any sense of vindication. For hours, he paced his study, the email open on his computer. His fingers hovered over the keyboard, unsure whether to reply with acceptance or rejection. He thought of his work, his compositions, his unmistakable sound. Could he return to this world and make it his own again? Or would he always be the composer who was once deemed, quote, too much for them? Finally, he sat down at the piano, pressing his fingers against the keys. A slow, haunting melody emerged, something new, something aching, something magical. Perhaps this was Perhaps this was his moment after all. With a deep breath, he began to type his response.
Fuck you.
Yeah. Do you think he would have told them to go fuck themselves, or do you think he would have been like, "Oh right, I'll come back"? To close out this episode, I thought it would be fun to bring back the epic rap battle.
Yay.
So, do you guys, if you guys listened to our summer solstice episode this past summer, we did a fun epic rap battle between the Holly King and the Oak King using the fascinating AI technology of Suno.ai. I also generated a photo on Canva and I was like, can you generate a photo of two music composers, one silver-haired and one bald guy with dark-rimmed glasses fighting over sheet music?
This is amazing. This is so Alan is
Yeah.
beefy. He's a beefcake.
Yeah, but they also gave him a mustache and glasses.
true.
I was like, that he doesn't have either one of those, but I was like,
He
this
might.
is
He
this
could.
is hysterical. They made Michael Nyman look more like the Monopoly guy or
Yeah, a
the
little bit. He's got
right?
yeah. Where are
Yeah.
all his teeth?
Yeah. And Alan Silvestri, they made him look a little more like the Colonel Sanders a little bit,
Yeah, he's
right?
got that. Yeah.
Yeah.
But that jaw could cut.
All right, so I'm gonna play you this track right now.
Okay.
So here we go. Let me share my screen.
You got it.
Strings and brass, I'll make 'em swoon in the night. Got folks on the edge, magic mixed with a fright. From Back to the Future, I control the vibe. Watch me compose orchestra and alive. Minimal notes, but complex in my sound. The piano man strikes, melodies profound. Face me, Silvestri, you're lost in a mist. This ain't endgame, I'm the top of the list. Two maestros clash for practical magic score. Who will enchant with tunes you adore? Silvestri's zest or Nyman's deep core. Let's see who wins this mystical war. I'll summon the spirits with symphonies grand, conducting the wind waves at my command. Zemeckis ally with themes so divine. Your minimal touch ain't stealing my shine. My rhythms haunt, draw you deep in trance. Notes delicate as leaves, they sway, they dance. From Gattaca to Wonderland, emotions raw. I craft the sound that sticks like a claw. I'm just a duel, who conquers the ears? Silvestri or Nyman, who steers the spheres? A femme-phonic contest, a showdown of peers. In a world of enchantment, who conquers our fears?
This goes so hard,
That drop.
right? Oh my god. Oh, break. Does it come back? Oh my god. Alright, I think the end is just instrument. Wait, how did that end? Okay. Just an explosion at the end.
Wow.
Wow. That went so hard.
It reminds me of, have you ever heard the SNL song, like the Michael Bolton comes in and
Yeah.
the Captain Jack Sparrow? This is the time. That's what that reminded me of.
It's so fucking funny.
Loved it.
Yeah, but like, dude, I was dying at the lyric where Silvestri sings, "Your minimal touch ain't stealing my shine."
That's savage, dude.
I was like, dude, hit him where it hurts. Holy shit. So who do we think won that song?
Ooh, I don't know.
I think Nyman would whoop Silvestri's ass. It's like all those years of pent up resentment.
Nyman seems like a wiry guy. Like he's not playing by the rules.
Right. He's like,
He's gonna be kicking. He's
I
gonna be
think-
using his knees and his elbows.
I think so. I think so too. That's why, like, if they asked him to come back instead, he'd be like, "Yeah, no, go fuck yourself."
Yeah.
Probably.
God damn.
Anyway,
That was great.
I thought that was a nice, entertaining beat to end off with. But I think that's all we got for today.
Those two songs are just so, you can use the clips from either the Amos Video Test or the Practical Magic in so many different little places.
Yeah.
Like I said, they have all these different little vignettes, but I've used them for many different emotions we're conveying,
Right.
you know, throughout the whole song. It's just so beautiful.
Yeah.
Ellen, we love you.
Ellen. fun. And again, go to that YouTube video we were talking about before if you guys want to listen to the whole, like all the intricacies in the entire film score, not just the two that are available on the soundtrack. Because somebody did upload the entire thing, all the cues, all the emotional cues, everything is there with no dialogue over it. So
That's awesome.
yeah, so go listen to that if you get a chance, because the whole thing is just so beautiful to just listen to without dialogue over it, so you can hear what's actually going on musically. Yeah, so that is all for Mr. Allen. So for more info and news about his music, his winery, go visit him over on alansilvestri.com. So if you guys enjoyed today's episode, check out our hero page for all of our sources. I think I would like to compile a Spotify playlist of our favorite Alan Silvestri compositions, since Spotify took away our WMSR integration.
Yeah,
So,
yeah. We
you
have
know.
a bunch of playlists going on, and all
Yeah.
the links are in our notes, our link tree. Yeah, but
Yeah.
he should have his own playlist.
I agree, because we can no longer do our radio countdown style episodes, so the only other thing I can think of is to create a playlist. If you guys want access to that, it will be over on our hero source page for today's episode, which you can access in the little description down below if you're listening to this on Spotify. And I think the link should show up no matter where you listen to this in our description, right? So yeah, also all of today's resources, show notes, extra bits and bobs, the fan fictions, the rap battles song will be over on the Patreon. And if you'd like to support us on the Patreon, here's how you can do that.
I
And
sure hope we get to talk to him someday.
me too. And who knows?
Could you imagine sitting down, Alan between us on the couch, and we're watching and we're commentating together? Wouldn't that be amazing?
Well, if this month has proved anything, you never know who's listening, because we got to talk to somebody very, very special
Yes.
just last episode. So
Yeah.
I'm excited. And he did heart our comment, so who knows?
I
He
know.
might tune in. You never know.
Oh my God.
You never know. But I think that's all for today. Do you have any other thoughts before we close out?
I think you did a great job on this one. I
Thank
didn't
you.
do a whole lot. You're really good at the music episodes.
Yeah,
Next week,
this is a lot of fun to put together.
next week we're gonna do snakes, because going on season 3 and we haven't talked about snakes.
Right.
Okay,
Right.
that's our bad.
And somebody just got a new tattoo that we're gonna talk about.
Oh, who be that?
Who be that? I think that'd be you, right?
I did. I can't wait to talk about it.
I can't wait
But
to
we're
talk about
doing
that.
snakes right before St. Patrick's Day,
Ooh.
because that connection there with that good sir.
Right.
But with Jillian's tattoo, I'm excited to do that one.
Me too. So I'll let you take the reins a little bit more on that one. I know you got a lot to say, because I mean, you obviously, it means so much to you. You got it tattooed on you, so
I'm very excited to share. I'm excited to share.
yeah.
I might take that out. I want it to be a surprise. I want you to
Okay.
be able to deliver the I had
Uh,
a snake tattoo.
okay. All
Yeah.
right. Yeah, you can take it out. Yeah.
I think that's it.
I think that is also it. If anybody has any other information about anything regarding Alan Silvestri, his music, how it's personally touched your own life, because I mean, it is such a it tugs at your heartstrings, that whole that score, right?
And
That's
other films too. I know
Yeah.
Forrest Gump has meant a lot to me over the years, but yeah, that could be a good poll for this episode. What is your favorite Alan Silvestri score?
I like that. All right, we'll make it happen. If you guys do want to support the podcast on Patreon, you can support us for as little as $1 a month. That's our seedling tier, and that gets you access to our patron-only polls, where you get to weigh in on what topics you would like us to talk about next. It also gets you our monthly calendar, so you can see what topics we have coming up for the month, and it also gets you a welcome shout out on the show. Our $3 Lavender Bud tier gets you our show notes for each episode in an aesthetically pleasing PDF, our after hours posts, if there's any extra tidbits or behind the scenes info pertaining to any of our episodes, we'll post those along with a blog post or extra photos, and access to our specially curated Spotify playlists. We have created playlists for our WMSR episodes as well as Production Dream playlists for each song episode, and more. Our $5 Lilac tier gets you access to our private Facebook community where we host a monthly live stream. Plus, you'll get access to our Discord server where we host our monthly watch parties. And also on the Discord, you can join in on the discussion with other Magnolia Street neighbors via the various interesting channels and threads. And then here's the $8 Rose tier. This gets you access to extra audio-visual content such as a once-a-month full-length video episode, unlimited bonus videos, uncut footage, cutting room floor footage, bloopers, outtakes, meditations, exclusive interviews, and old home videos from the vault, or spell or ritual videos, and more. It also gets you bonus content to coincide with our song-episodes, such as full-length demo streams of our original Practical Magic inspired music, plus lyric sheets, guitar chords, and original scratch demos, or bonus video performances of our songs and more. Lastly, we have our $15 Wisteria Vine tier. Just like a twisting Wisteria Vine, there's a way for you to stay connected with us, the Stinas. In this tier, we invite you to join our private Marco Polo video messaging app. The app is totally free for both Android and iOS. Sign up with your phone number or email, and we will help you do the rest. This is a great way to chat with each other in a more intimate group setting, face-to-face via video recording. We love to show each other our pets, our gardens, or anything else you'd like to share. And just a reminder that the higher the tier you sign up under, the more rewards you get, because you get all of the rewards of the tiers below it. You can upgrade or downgrade or even cancel at any time. So to support the podcast, head to patreon.com/Magnolia Street Podcast.
Yeah, and there are additional ways to support us and our podcast that don't cost you any money. If you do listen on Spotify, please give us a star rating. If you listen to us on Apple Podcasts, please give us a written review. We love sharing those on our Instagram. And if you're on Instagram, we would really appreciate any reposts or blurbs about our podcast. And make sure to tag us at Magnolia Street Podcast in your feed, posts, stories, and share us with your Practical Magic loving friends.
Magnolia Street Podcast at gmail.com. If you have any other thoughts, shoot us an email. We'd love to talk about it on our next episode.
New episodes every Friday. We will see you next week. And until then, I am Christina.
I'm Destina.
And we'll see you next time.
Get it, girl! We'll see you next time.
The mic is blown out.
At the house on Magnolia Street.